Separated through the miles, searching for the answer to our trials. We came so far through our weakness. We found a love, even the stars between us won't marry us. One day we can be together, and this moment could last forever. I say that you and I have found a piece of heaven, so I pray we can be together one day. So I pray we can be together one day.
No, you drive me crazy, baby. You got me turning to another man. Call you on the phone, no one's home. And if you wasn't for the music, I don't want what I do. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life, yeah. 'Cause I was sitting bored to death, and in just one breath you said, you gotta get up, you gotta get off, you gotta get down, girl. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life from a broken heart. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life with a song.
What up, squad? We back for more. Super League is back once again, and a quick shout as well to everyone who has dropped into the chat, and especially Mr. F. Dot for dropping that tier 1. Thank you very much. Felix, the young phenom, coming through the ranks. And we haven't got his team this evening, Pabs. We've got 4 different ones. Obviously, a couple that we have casted over, a couple that we haven't. And our first fixture this evening going to be Iniquity ESports, boys that we know inside and out pretty much by this stage. But they're up against a roster that we're not necessarily too familiar with in Black Square GG. So obviously we've got a mixed bag of experience on our part anyway for this series, but it should be a banger nonetheless because, you know, it's the Super League. So what do you come to expect?
Yeah. Exactly, man. It's been a wild first week, I suppose, and every game's kind of shaped up very similarly. We've got a handful of players that we're super familiar with, and then we go and have a handful of players that really we haven't had an opportunity to cast over. So each game's had like a real nice twist to it, and today's no different. I think in terms of Black Square, obviously, I think we've cast over Vodridge in the past, but Storms Punker and Don Rudy are relatively new in terms of casting over, and that could be entirely down to the fact that we haven't actually had a kind of league at this level that attracts that kind of player. So this should be interesting. But obviously, Iniquity is just stacked with quality, and it's nice to see us settled. It's really nice to see these four in a settled squad as well. So that's always good, and it's finally nice. Second opportunity to cast over Ben Wilson for me. So I know you're way familiar with him, but it's just been really good to have an opportunity to see him actually playing. So yeah, I'm quite excited, and then the game after is going to be another banger as well.
Yeah, so we'll get onto these teams and these rosters in just a second, Pablo. But before we do, I just wanted to have a quick special mention to the boys from yesterday. Obviously, Higgy, Crookie, KZ, and Joel Decimate.
Yeah.
I think on behalf of every single person that's ever been involved in amateur COD, the performance that those boys put together yesterday is tippable by any means, and congratulations to those boys. Obviously, I know they'll be kicking themselves, but it was a fucking unreal performance from those boys yesterday. Obviously, everyone on the COD scene, especially kind of just below that top 8 kind of level, were all vouching for those boys, and to push kind of Rafi's team to game 5. Obviously, I felt heartbroken when they couldn't win the series, but I mean, a huge congratulations to those boys. They were absolutely unbelievable yesterday.
Mind-blowing performance. I mean, there was times where I think it's probably the most vocal I've had in this room, where no one else has been, where I haven't been casting for a team prior to maybe watching champs or watching something else, where but this is the first time where I felt we had like a real investment in this side to do well. And the fact that they took an S&D off them in such style as well, when you consider just how well versed in S&D Rafi and Co are. They really like understand that game mode more than anything else, and again, just hanging with them and doing better in terms of just slaying out as well. But I was just mind blown that they've done so well, and we've talked about wanting to break that bubble that exists in terms of, we are still seeing the same kinds of players over and over again in that top bracket. It's not going to be like that forever, for certain. There's so many good players and good teams punching through now, so it's only a matter of time. So if you are in the handful of players who've made it to the elites, you need to know now that there is a good group of players that are coming chasing for you right now and are banging on the door.
Yeah, I'd say they're a prime example that anyone who obviously is looking at potentially working their way up, that you can do it, and they've demonstrated it, a lot of hard work. And I mean, Higgy especially, I don't know too much about kind of Crookie and Casey in terms of how long they've actually been in competitive COD, but obviously Higgy especially, I mean, anyone will tell you how much of a sound lad he is. Joel as well, who I've spoken to and played 8s with as well. They're both incredibly sound lads, so I couldn't be more happy for those guys, really, to kind of demonstrate what it takes. Obviously, don't get it twisted. They have put a lot of time into the game, in scrims and VODs and that kind of amount of investment. Obviously, I'm so glad that it paid off for them, and it's almost a perfect landmark, really, of seeing kind of what amateur COD can be and where players can come from. Because as I flagged up with Higgy, he started competitive right at the end of Cold War, and now he's on a really, really top roster, pushing that ceiling into amateur COD. So anything that these boys do, regardless, onwards from that point, they've made pretty much everyone incredibly proud. I was watching that series like a Cheshire cat, like grinning from ear to ear, like you say. I was literally wanting every single thing to go in their favour. Obviously, it wasn't quite meant to be, but I've got no doubt with those players and those abilities that they've got, they will get there eventually. It's just a case of when, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can remember casting Higgy in Checkmate and just, being bowled over by his ability. But again, you've got to consider that he was surrounded again by 7 other players on both sides who equally are going to be wanting to be in the same position this year. We know tons of players. We've seen F-Dot and Smudge, they're not quite, well, obviously F-Dot's not quite at the age yet, but he'll get there. And then we've seen Vega and the likes, who are all just knocking on the door, and obviously JMW, JT, and those guys are all going to be wanting to do the same thing. So it was just great. I mean, I don't know why it was a matter of such great pride yesterday, but it really was. Like, I was like, it was. I know the guys from the ACCL felt exactly the same way. Like, every single person who's been involved with that league will probably, desperate for them to get through. And I think Prezi put a stat in saying that the 52% of there was some mad stat, like, in the last handful of teams, or before that round, whatever, there was like a player from the ACCL in each team, and it was just wild to think that's how far the ACCL has come. The stats completely, Prezi needs to pop that in the chat. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was really impressive. And obviously it's just going to go from strength to strength. So, and this Super League's definitely going to be part and parcel of that, and we're seeing it now with some again with some players that we haven't cast over before. So it's all super exciting to say the least.
Yeah, and just to kind of cut you off a little bit there, Pabs, I mean, Kane has just dropped 5 gifted subs and resubbed himself. What an absolute man. That's worthy of a few of those. Thank you very much, Kane. The man's generosity knows absolutely no bounds. Thank you very much, buddy. And hopefully we'll get to see you on the sticks again very, very shortly. What a man. Can we get some love and some C's in the chat for Mr. Kane, man? What an absolute gem. What an absolute gem. So, focusing on this game, Pabs. Obviously, we do have our maps as well that everyone will be able to see. We've got an odd set, really. It's a very structured series, I suppose you would say, in terms of these maps. All it's missing is probably another Berlin in a hard point. Obviously, double Gavutu. We know what everyone likes on that map. Obviously, sandwiched either side of Berlin, and then double Tuscan. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but a lot of experienced head maps, I would say. Those AR players probably looking at these are very, very relieved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're starting to see Gavutu come into the rotation a bit more, obviously, with it being one of the only 2 control maps. That's going to be the case. We are seeing a lot more double Tuscan in the game, which is fair. Surprised to see Berlin dropping out as much as it is. So we'll see how that is. There's so much going on. The subscriptions just pouring in, Major.
Kane's just done another 5.
It's got just the quality programming that you do, mate. It's well earned. But yeah, other than that, man, it's just, we're seeing a lot of these maps double up. I noticed a lot of the top AMs complaining on Twitter yesterday that the map pool is just so dire at the minute. In terms of the 4 S&D 4R.2 control maps isn't great. It doesn't give a lot of opportunity to mix things up. And obviously, the smaller the map pool, the larger the knowledge base. So a lot more people can play a lot more effectively across those smaller range of maps. So that presents problems, and it could potentially be why we're seeing a lot more of our kind of level teams pushing through to the later stages. Hopefully not. Hopefully it is entirely down to good quality, but we would like to see a larger map pool, I think.
Yeah, we're just apparently one of the lads on the side of Black Square GG is just currently doing a looty, just to double check, and obviously Kane dropping another 5 gifted. What an absolute man. Thank you so much, Kane, man. We'll have a spam of the C's, and it's absolute legend. Thank you so much, buddy. And Mr. Scooty continuing the sub as well. Thank you very much, brother. So, yeah, obviously the Iniquity boys, we know what these guys are made of, Pablo. Obviously Black Square GG, we don't know a huge amount about. I think we might have casted Vodrich in the past. The name rings a bell.
It's a strong might as well.
Yeah. So with us and kind of the volume of players that we kind of cover, there's a lot
there's
to kind
a Vidrich and a Vibrich as well.
Yeah, there is a Vibrich and a Vodrich, yeah. So it might be one or the other for all we know. But regardless, Black Square, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. There's so many V's, isn't there? But the boys of Black Square GG, obviously, they're coming up against a team similarly to Higgy's lot, where they are really trying to break through the ceiling of where they currently sit. And I have no doubt these boys will do it at some point. It's just a question of when they do it. So the boys of Black Square GG are really going to have to showcase what they've got in this series, because Iniquity, they are not a pushover by any means. A lot of teams probably come up against these boys and go, oh, bloody hell, right, okay, let's book this one in, potentially get it out of the way, because they're a brutal roster when they're playing on the top of the game.
I mean, you just think as individuals they're scary. You've got to think that I drop maybe 11 in a game. I think you can drop 30 or 40 in a game. You're putting a shout out for 8. These guys say we'll play, and you're like, no, I don't want to play in a game.
I know. I said Detri 8, and I think I got a clump of top 32 gamers, and I was like, I think I'm being trolled here at this point. We would have been absolutely bodied had any of those boys taken part.
I would have gone on a fat donut in a hard point, no problem. So, I mean, they're a scary proposition as individuals, and then when you consider as a team, with the puppet master himself, JMW, just being able to pull the strings, he's the kind of player who can go negative in an S&D, and his team will absolutely slap because he is there, negotiating the way they play and absolutely looking after the strategy. Or he can drop easily drop double figures as well in an S&D. So just JMW's experience coming through as well from last year, which is great to see. And then you've got the wild talents of Dave. Just you give him a free roam.
Oh mate, I played pubs.
Kills.
I played pubs with Dave the other day, and I was on about 30 kills. He was on about 84. I was just like, I don't understand how he does it. Yeah, they've got an incredibly well mixed group with these guys, and I think communication, especially on this roster, is going to be very, very strong. I will be shocked if we ever see this roster like miss a rotation or get very, very scrappy. They're a very organised, big brain bunch of lads, regardless of how young they are. When you hear them in their comms and how they play, they're very, very structured in what they do. And the fact they've got the gun skill to go with it is pretty much the blueprint that any kind of amateur COD team would need to kind of reach the top levels, because they put the time in, they put the work in, and as I say, it's only a matter of time before they get their just deserves for it as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously JNW's been super close in the past. So, you know, one round, really, one game away from knocking Snakey's team out, and hopefully he can just, that's in the past, and I just want him to push on now and just go even further in Vanguard, and maybe as the season goes on, this is definitely a team with the potential to do really well, and just if they can break through, because I mean, in terms of their fundamental ability as individuals, there's no question they're really good, but it's just that, can they just break through, you know, and play at that extra pace that's required to just push that top 8, you know, team. So hopefully they're another side like Higgy, like that, who can the sub's still pouring in for you, Major.
Oh mate, Mr. Mead, I am a certified cheerleader, as I think it was Lisa that first started that. Yeah, thank you very much, Alfie, for the sub. We got a hype train going, Pavs. Everyone's buzzing for the series. I love
Sunday
it.
Evening, no one expects this level of Call of Duty on a Sunday evening, and it's just, you know, you thoroughly deserve it, mate. And hopefully this partner will come through, you know, as soon as possible for you.
I mean, it says on the thing 7 working days. I am counting them. I'm on 12. I've seen a lot of things. I've been very paranoid about it, because I was just like, have I been forgotten? What's going on? But yeah, apparently it can take up to 3 months, some people were saying. Obviously, they've got a big old queue to get through. So regardless of if we get it or not, I mean, things will still be the same. We'll still be here casting as much Call of Duty as we can. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice to get it, but it won't be the end of the world. We'll still be here doing what we love, and how we started doing it, just casting over Call of Duty, and it's just a benefit kind of with the ACCL coming through, and obviously these players that keep consistently taking part, that we get the honour of watching this level of Call of Duty.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing to consider is as the season progresses and the ACCL starts to redevelop the next seasons, Prezi's overall attitude is to try and consistently increase the value of the competition, which means bigger prize pools, and with that comes better players. So hopefully, you know, going forward into the season, we can start to tickle the wallets of the August guys and the Young Cretins and Sukri and Co, and people like that, and hopefully, you know, that'll be the next phase for the ACCL, is to bring those guys into the top end and just start to see the very best. But again, that will be a mixture of ACCL and those kind of players again. So hopefully that'll come off in the next season, or potentially the season after that, and then, you know, the ACCL will be flying. And it's important because it does actually provide a pipeline between that very lowest kind of entry-level competitive player and the very high end. So yeah, that would be a really nice thing to have in Europe right now.
Yeah, and we are loading into map number 1, so with that 30-second delay, we should be in very shortly. And front desk lady, she was helping out yesterday in the old observing. Thank you very much for the follow. And we've obviously got Percent. I'll try and grab everyone's in a second. I'll just quickly flick us over to the game because we are due to start it. I think we're pretty much good to go, and I'll quickly shout out everyone who follows, because I hate missing people when they do. We've got Eki, Grantham, Requix, Solative, Just George, what a man, thank you very much, buddy. Jesse, Blaze, Rizov Joel, is it Raxa, and Sherry, Mostic, Sisaz, Fwiz, Bjorn, bloody hell, there's been so many of them. But thank you very much, guys, for all the followers. And yeah, we're into our game, Pabs, and as mentioned, kind of, I don't quite know how we're going to say 2 of the names, not going to lie, they might be a little bit difficult in
well, one's got to be Storms.
Yeah, I mean, one is Storms and the other one is, let me just double check, is it Rudy? Yeah,
Rudy.
Right, we'll go Rudy as 5 and Storms as 7. They can't complain because they've just absolutely stiffed us with these names. But we'll see how we go anyways. And a good start from Black Square GG. They've obviously got a little bit of time at the moment, and yeah, they're going to have to keep this up against this roster in Iniquity ESports, who won't be taking their foot off the gas anytime soon.
Yeah, it did look like number 5 there, Storms. Well, we hope Storms in getting that top boat control very early on, and that's just allowed them to take some, geographical advantage. And they've got that P1 fairly sewn up. And as they obviously were kind of halfway into P2, it does look like they're getting some time. So Iniquity Sports, and we know this roster that can be a little slow off the mark when it comes to kind of getting into the game. So we do expect them to kind of be on the struggle bus a little bit in the first game. So it's not too much of a surprise. But once you start to see Ben Wilson and Dave kind of like absolutely, sorry for those who don't know, Dave's Master Shifu. Once we do see them start to warm up, I suspect this could be, super interesting. And Major, am I allowed to get away with castaway jokes when Wilson's on the beach? I don't know, I'm not sure. But right now it's looking good for Black Square. But as we suspected, potentially Iniquity Sports just starting to make a comeback as they push through onto P2 and start thinking about that beach control. And I think Ben Wilson obviously looking for that glide within the next handful of seconds. He's got it just in time for the P3, and it's straight out, Major.
Yeah, and Punker, he'll do well to avoid that one. He's not going to be able to. Those purple arrows off Black Square, GG. And just going on a slightly logical sense, I suppose you would say, perhaps, because we've got Rudy and Storms. I mean, the first one is 4, so it's 4 kind of letters or symbols, so I'm going to go with 5 as Rudy, especially if they say no other way round. Obviously, we'll switch it, but it looks as though Rudy at the moment and Punker currently struggling at the moment, and Iniquity going to try and work their way in towards a hill that's very, very difficult to break here. Zachary going to try and keep his head down, and he will get involved in the action as Mr. Dave up top. Shots into 1, shots into 2. Good work from Dave. He is going to get taken down, but Ben going to be nearby, and so too will Zachary. So really good work from the boys in red to secure what is going to remain of the time. And now the important rotation is going to go down, Pablo. And Vodric at the moment, he's got a lot of work to do because he's, at least for the time being, all on his own.
And not only is he on his own, I mean, he's only got 3 players. Well, 2 players, including himself, contributing in any way on the map. Punker Cod 2 and 6. He has got 40 seconds, which is, if you're not going to get the kills, at least try and swallow some time. But Rudy is about as far onto the struggle bus as it's possible to be without getting a license for driving the bus. He's 2 and 9 with no time at all, so no contribution really in the game, and that is potentially why we're seeing this 30-second lead from Iniquity Esports. And we really need to be able to go toe-to-toe with the boys in red if you're going to compete in any way, shape or form, because they will punish you. Ben Wilson is, he's making me eat words again. He's straight out for blocks 12 and 4. He's not eating up any time. He's probably been told, go on that free roam, join Dave. I mean, JMW's probably doing the same thing, but I'm just having an awesome game so far. So despite the lead being narrowed quite dramatically, it's looking great for Iniquity Esports as they just seem to just have the rhythm of the game a little bit.
Yeah, and at the moment, Storms is really kind of carrying the boys in terms of kills at the moment. 15 and 8 from him, but as mentioned, Rudy and Punker still really behind it, and even Vodric at the moment is kind of pushing towards double negative in this kind of map. We've seen before where Ben struggled on the Bocage the last time we cast him, but as soon as we started seeing him on these more calculated and more organised kind of maps, the slower pace really does benefit the likes of Ben, and he's showing that exactly here. Currently 13 and 5 as the team of Black Square going to try and push their way through, but Dave still locking down a couple of lanes, and Ben, there's another kill for him, so triple positive now for Ben as his boys try and push this lead out even further. There's not a huge amount of time separating them at the moment, considering how the kill feeds have been going. I'll tell you what, Black Square GG probably going to take that, and Dave with the melee is going to get that 5 streak, so Glide Bomb will be ready to be used, and Zach going to have to try and watch the cross. Punker in no man's land, going to get taken down, and he is just going to back up for the time being while his teammates try and lock down the front of the 4. But this so far, Pablo, has been a really, really good hold from Iniquity, and the lead is really starting to get pushed out now.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously with the lack of contribution from 3 of the players from Black Square, we are finally starting to see this slay out from Iniquity start to turn into actual time, which was going to happen at some point. But right now, you're quite right. Purple team right now and Black Square completely being carried on Storms' shoulders. You would argue Punker Cod obviously with a solid 1 minute and 14 seconds. He's basically keeping his team in it by soaking up time. And this is, a great example of what a player can do. The odd kill in the kill, but just try and get that time. And right now, you would argue Black Square should not be anywhere near being even close to being in this game. And again, it just looks like, I don't know whether Iniquity Esports are just kind of playing with the food, or they're just not really kind of got an objective player, or they're just trying to be more flexible and rotate that objective player around a little bit. it, because we have got 3 players sharing the round in about 40 seconds and more, and then we've obviously got Ben Wilson who's doing that rolling roll on 25 seconds. But again, it's probably the better way to go if you can perfect it and get that flexibility. So it might be something that the guys from Iniquity are just trialing and just trying to perfect in this game, knowing full well that they've probably got more experience than Black Square. But right now, 186 to 113, and we're starting to see the kind of dominance from Iniquity just start to show on the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, so now the new hill pops. It will be Dave just on the hill, soaking up the time, and look at his teammates at the moment. They are just pushed out so far. Nice shots again by Zachary, and that combined streak sat at 12 now between the 4 players of Iniquity. They are really starting to gather the momentum now, especially just in terms of kills. They'll be lucky to even get near to this at the moment, but Punker does manage to work his way in, only for his 7th kill at the moment. It's only the man in Storms that is currently in double figures at the moment, so we'll see if his teammates can try and lend him a helping hand at the moment, because everything is just red in the kill feed time after time. Ben down this lane, spots Vodrich, takes him down, and it looks as though Storms is going to get one over towards the hill, but Jack is just still locked into position, and every single second is starting to be another nail in the coffin here in map number 1 for Black Square GG. Glide bomb going to come through. We'll see whether or not Jack can grab one, and he will do it again. Every single player is just getting cut down time after time. They've got what appears to be the bigger chunk of map control over towards the next hill, and oh, Benny Boy Wilson, 9 in a row and some body shots to go with it. The rotation over towards the new hill is now imminent. It looks as though potentially one player in Rudy might be able to make the play. Ben and JMW are spawning up in the back, and we are going to see another glide bomb coming through from Ben as it lands on towards Rudy. Takes him down. Vodric's going to win a gunfight as well, but Punker needs to go huge in the kill. Can he manage to grab any kills? No, Zachary shuts him down, and with 3 seconds left, somebody needs to touch the hill. Ben's just delaying. He's got Zachary inside. They've got to be careful because they've gone for the hill. They got the kill, but Iniquity, Pablo, it was a slow start from them, as you mentioned, but when they got going, bloody hell, they didn't stop.
Man, that is a brutal performance right there. And I know, you know, if anyone wants to know the difference between me and Major, Major is generally the more positive player. I would suggest Black Square Gaming might be looking for one. Rudy on a 3 and 22 with no time 23 on the hill whatsoever. Probably one of the most difficult performances that I think I've ever seen in Call of Duty. And welcome to the ACCL Super League, Black Square GG, because you're just being absolutely bodied, man. I mean, Ben Wilson, I mean, kicking a dog when it's down, but absolute work from that team in red. You know, this is going to be a difficult game, and potentially, you know, this team in purple, Black Square, are going into a game mode now, which is, you would suggest, is the most comfortable of the game modes for Iniquity. They love a search and destroy. JMW absolutely loves Berlin. And this is going to be wild. It's just I feel for them. They need a huge regain, and I can't imagine what the conversation's going on behind the scenes. But I'm pretty certain they're going to need a reset, Major, because that was a wild performance.
Yeah, and just a quick shout out to Mr. Destroy, who will be playing later, I do believe. Dant and Shields as well for the follows. Thank you very much, guys. But wow, that was a absolute battering. For map number 1. If you're Black Square GG, that regain button needs to be hit very, very quickly. We say it all the time, though, Pablo. You can get battered in map 1, and we've still seen teams pull something out of the bag. But I think it was Rudy. Was it Rudy 3 and 23 in the end? Yeah, that is a brutal map. I mean, fair enough. We can't criticize, because if we were playing these kind of caliber of players, we wouldn't get one probably. But that is a hell of a statement from Iniquity, as if to say,
can you just rewind that one back, Major?
What?
Because I'm almost certain that you've played against the likes of JMW and Dave and still dropping 20s and 30s.
Oh yeah, but they don't care. They don't care when I play. They won't even come if I'm playing against them. They'll just be like, there'll probably be a few beers deep knowing those boys. If I was to play them and get a kill, I'd be like, it's good in. But yeah, that was a rude awakening there for Black Square GG for what is potentially to come for them. Obviously, Iniquity ESports in the group are one of the stronger teams. But Black Square GG are probably looking at that and going, right, okay, these guys are pretty good.
And we would suggest that Iniquity are probably not the strongest team, but probably at least in the top 3 of the contenders.
Sure.
To definitely go through. But that would probably suggest that Black Square GG have got, you know, more difficult games to come. Only 1 or 2 maybe, but they really do need, you know, you look at the other teams that you would suggest aren't as strong as Iniquity, but they will be giving them a run for the money. That Kabuto would have been a 250 to 230, 220 type of game. You can't allow a team like Iniquity Esports to chain hills together like they've just done to dominate entire pieces of geography with one player, Ben Wilson, completely dominating that kind of bridge to boat area. It's just mind-blowing. So you can't have that happen. They tied up, the entire team with one player on a number of occasions, and just looked like they were having fun in the process. And right now, that's going to require the biggest regain from Black Square GG. And we don't know the measure. This is the one thing we haven't cast over them. We don't know the measure. They might be amazing S&D players. So who knows? And we know the Vanguard just throws up the wildest of surprises. But again, I'm going to suggest that Iniquity, probably going into one of their favourite maps and one of their favourite modes, are going to take this to a 2-0.
Yeah, so guys, if you did miss map number 1, Iniquity Esports kind of put a textbook performance on in everyone's favourite map in Gavutu Hardpoint 250. It's a 115 it was in the end. We are now loading in towards our map number 2 for Berlin Search, and yeah, they're really going to be looking for more from their players in this Search and Destroy, Pabs. It's one where you're looking at Black Square GG, and I think it's just a case now, right, okay, we need to get the fundamentals right. We need to get the stuff right in Search that pays off, and First Bloods especially are going to be huge for them in this one. If they're going to try and grab anything out of this series, it's going to have to start here, you would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've nailed it on the head there, Major. First Bloods in this are vital. Not only is it obviously give you the man advantage, we get to see Vodric absolutely nail with the sniper across mid. So a great start for them, and entirely this opportunity now for them to get bomb site control, get bomb down, and start to really do some work and get one round in the lead. That's going to be vital just for their confidence and just to show that they are able to hang. And straight away, we do see 2 players fall though for the purple team in Steve Storms, Rudy and Vodric, and Major. That leaves Punker Cod in a 1v3 on a map that doesn't lend itself to clutches.
Yeah, so now Punker 1 versus 2 up against the infamous duo of Dave and Zach. See if he can work something here. It's going to be the split approach coming through from Dave. Oh, Punker, hello. Right. I mean, for coming from a person who is borderline legally blind, I have no idea how he's not seen Dave there on that heady. Obviously, we are granted the beauty of X-ray vision, but I was surely thinking he was seen Dave there, but he didn't, and the boys in red take the first round.
I just can't believe that we're like blind brothers as well, because I'm borderline legally blind after eye surgery and 2 sets of glasses. I'm still squinting at the screen when I'm playing. So it's good to know I'm not the only one who's on the struggle bus with eyesight. But yeah, we talk about this time and time again. Vanguard, one thing that is really difficult to do is to clutch up. Obviously, we get maps like this, which are huge, and you can spread out and get information. Ooh. And again, Vodric with the snipe. Dirty First Blood on JMW will be fuming right now that he hasn't been able to reciprocate. But Black Square GG, they've had the opportunity time and time again in these first 2 rounds. Now it's time to take it. Can Zachary pull off the impossible, or will Black Square tie it all up, Major?
Yep, a lot of work here for Zach. See if he can manage to at least get 1, maybe 2. In what Vodric can do with that sniper, but there are purple arrows absolutely everywhere. They know roughly, it seems as though, where he is, and they take him down. So Black Square GG. That is a much better round from them. And Rudy, I'm pretty sure he got 1 of his 3 kills already in that entire respawn. He's now managed to grab 1 in the search, so a much better contribution there from him, and his teammates going to manage to reap the rewards for it. So 1-1 now, but you're really looking for this kind of momentum to stand here, aren't you, Pabs? It's one where we can get around here or there, but they're going to have to do it consistently. But with Vodric at the moment looking pretty sharp on the sniper, that's obviously going to help them to open out quite a few lanes on Berlin, because we've seen maps before where snipers do well. Their team has so much more map control and presence.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one thing though, I would think, to suggest that he's going to potentially. I think he's done the clever move here. He's gone from the sniper to the AR, still getting some information. He's going to be able to pass that over, and it changes things up, because one thing we know JMW is really good at, and he will have done, because he's 0-2, he's probably not very happy about the first 2 rounds, is he will kind of assimilate the way the opposition play and look to counter that. And right now, I think it was a really good idea from Vodric to just drop the sniper and change things up a little bit. So it gives Black Square that opportunity to be a little bit more surprising, a little bit more inventive, and and potentially take the round. So this could be an interesting game, Major, to be perfectly honest. But right now, it is going to be 2 versus 4, and this is a very difficult fit position for Punker and Vodric right now.
Yeah, and a quick shout out to Lucas and Mitchell for the follow. Thank you very much, guys. But now Punker does manage to grab 1, but they do finally drop him, and it will be a defuse coming through there for Zach and the boys of Iniquity. Now going to go 2-1 up. Obviously, it's a map where we've seen it multiple times, Pablo, where kind of the attacking team. As soon as they get bombed down, it's very difficult to defend. But the boys of Iniquity there with a really good regain, obviously playing it patiently. I would kind of expect nothing else from these guys to play the time smartly, play it patiently, and a good bomb retake there and a good defuse to come through to put them 2-1 up.
Yeah, it was really nice control all the way around. You just saw how composed Iniquity Esports were. Even when they lost players, they had players around to trade from most angles covered. So even though that player pushes out of bottom office, he still gets tagged up, and even and after the kill, so the trades there. So no matter what Black Square did, then they just got dominated quite heavily. You would expect this to be the way of Iniquity Esports going into the next few rounds. So hopefully the boys in purple can mix things up. It's kind of very uninventive push through office, but at least we see the trade there. And finally, Rudy's nearly on the same amount of kills that he got in hard point. So having a much better S&D, you would suggest, as obviously the kills kind of mean a lot more. And right now, it's all square, 3 versus 3, and an opportunity for the boys in purple to make a comeback.
Yeah, so bomb goes down, and it's going to be down to those purple arrows to try and work their way in towards that B bomb site. Storms is just here on this outer lane. BMW in a back warehouse. Zachary inside the site now, but now is Storm's going to check the right particular part of it. Zachary, a couple of shots exchanged, but there's the kill. Jack manages to grab one, and they are currently split, the last 2 remaining players, Rudy being one of them. He only needs 1 more kill just to equal his entire hardpoint tally here as he looks to try and get the kill onto Zachary, but Zachary has absolutely none of it, shuts him down up close and personal, and now Vodric, last man up, 1 versus 3 with 8 seconds on the clock. It's looking pretty bleak. They take him down, and Iniquity Esports, they take another round, Pablo. 2-round cushion now.
Yeah, they're just starting to exert the dominance on the map and just making life very difficult for a team who don't appear to have much of a plan B. You were hoping with the obviously pulling back the sniper. I would expect Vodjic will probably pull the sniper out again. That they might be able to get picks and might be able to get that all-important first blood. I mean, you look at the kills. Everyone in Black Square actually doing their job. They're all getting kills, but they're just not able to get the trades effectively. And Iniquity Esports just lined up better. And you would argue Dave just feeling himself a little bit on 4 and 2, backed up by Zachary. So again, just looking very strong in this Berlin S&D, and we know historically they are very successful at it, even when they've played teams you would consider stronger. JMW's teams always look good on Berlin S&D.
Yeah, and the boys of Black Square, smart play. They saw pretty much everyone cross over towards that A site, so they make the call to go to B. But Zach, big gunfight in the middle of the map. There's still another man in Vodric nearby. He's got to be careful not to get caught out by JMW just watching over the top. So it is now 3 versus 3, and there are teammates running in towards P2 on the side of Black Square GD to try and get Zachary out of this position. Vodric, he looks as though he might have the next potential engagement any second up against Zachary. Zachary takes down 1. Vodric there for the trades, but likewise is JMW. So now it is all on Rudy. Needs the 1 versus 2. Spots Ben, a couple of shots coming out. Can't grab the kill, but he does eventually. So now 1 versus 1 up against Jack, who is going to manage to shout at the right time, or JMW spots him right at that moment, but with 12 seconds left on the clock, he's got to be quick here. Jackie's got to force the chow, and he's not able to win the gunfight. So Black Square GG, arguably with an enormous moment there, Pablo. If it starts going 4-1, you do worry for them again, but a big round coming through from Mr. Rudy, who obviously caught a lot of flack after that first map.
Yeah, and I mean, it just goes to show the kid can clearly shoot. So I don't know what happened to him in the hard point, whether the game kind of got the better of him. I can't imagine it would be nerves. It's just online. So whether he's a new player in the team or so many different factors, but he looks he's looking solid in this S&D. Maybe he's just purely an S&D kid. Who knows? But again, I just thought it was kind of weird. I thought they'd overextended them, were too aggressive towards this the P2 site, the bottom of the site. But again, it worked in their favor. They were able to get a couple of picks, and then ultimately Rudy coming up clutch in the end as he drops J&W, and again, just a nice performance to keep this game nice and tight, and to keep Black Square within a possibility of making this an interesting series, because up until that point it was starting to look like it was going to run away with them one more time. You would still suggest that Iniquity Esports can still go through a couple of gears and potentially cause this team in purple problems.
Yeah, and Jack on this outer lane looking to try and use the explosive barrel to his aid. He is going to mark up Rudy there with the explosive barrel. Isn't going to grab the kill though, but he does get the information that there's some players there. But number 3, Storms, what a cross that was. And Black Square GG, they managed to stick the defuse as well. So a much smarter round there from Black Square GG. The good positioning there from Storms, just up top, just watching the cross. He got all the info that he needed, and a pick onto Zachary as well as, Mr. Kez with the 7 tick-off biddies. Thank you very much, Kez. But yeah, really good work there from the boys in purple, Pablo. They really needed to try and get some sort of momentum going in this search and destroy. And now 2 rounds in a row, and they've tied it up.
Well, and nice of them to make me eat my words one more time, as it does look like they've got a plan B. The previous round to that, they were super aggressive and they were able to get the kills and obviously landed on Rudy. And then this round, they were able to be more cautious, get, much better positioning and able to get those players transitioning over to the bomb site. So I'm going to have to just stuff these words back into my mouth one more time. Ominously, JMW with the first blood, but it is finally traded out. Yeah, we see Storms and Rudy Dot, but who's there? But Ben Wilson, it's going to be a 2v1. Ben Wilson goes absolutely wild and tags that game up super quick. So again, we see that change up from Iniquity Esports. We expect JMW to get his team to mix things up. Super aggressive play over towards this A-bomb site, and they cause absolute damage and drop the team in purple. And we just said prior to that the likelihood is Iniquity have got a couple of gears that they could potentially go through.
Yeah, and Ben now with 3 kills in a row, only a couple away from the glide bomb. And that Ben Wilson with a sniper. Haven't seen that for a while.
Feeling himself.
I don't think I've seen it ever, to be honest, but we'll see what Ben can manage to work here with the sniper. Looks as though there isn't going to be anyone crossing over anytime soon towards his line of sight, as his teammates are going to grab that bomb. And Rudy going to run into a hell of a lot of problem there. So first blood, Dave able to grab it. And now it's looking as though the boys of Black Square GG might try and send a couple of players all the way around the back. You can see Punker on the minimap going all the way round. Redirection. Go through that P2. But now, can he make the play on the flank here, Punker? If anyone's going to have to do it, it's going to have to be him. There's going to be a man near him, and Zachary, there's absolutely not. Grabs that kill, so now it's 2 versus 4. Vodrich and Stormzy got a lot of work, but a nice opening kill there from Stormzy makes it 2 versus 3. With 25 seconds left on the clock. They're going to have to move. They're going to have to move quickly. Ben just watching the outer lane. While Dave is just tucked up inside, and Ben watching that outer lane, surely. I think Ben's just toying with his food here. Manages to grab the kill onto Vodrich. There's going to be another one nearby. But with 13 seconds left, you would assume Iniquity going to play this one smart. Stormzy running in towards the hill. Dave shuts him down, and another round there for Iniquity Esports, Pabs, and they now go 5-3 up.
Yeah, I mean, you could hear in the background Zeppelin not amused with the way that Black Square GG played whatsoever. Just thought it was a little overcautious. Obviously stacking the wrong bomb site, which forces them to make the transition through the middle. And that's just not going to be any good when you've got 2 players in Zachary and Dave watching the back, and JMW and Ben watching the front. So in the end, it's just Iniquity Esports who take the round, and are 1 round away from going 2-0 up, which we said. Obviously, I think they've done it in less emphatic fashion than potentially we thought it was going to be, but it's still been reasonably dominant. But hats off to Black Square GG. Right now, they've made the game of it, and you would suggest if they were able to win 1 more round, might just be able to plant a seed of doubt into JMW's mind.
Yeah, and there's no doubt in his first kill, absolute beams from Jack all the way across from one spawn to the other pretty much. But now bomb going to go down to B. Iniquity going to have to reshuffle and try and work the bomb defuse now. So 45 seconds on the clock. And they're going to have to go relatively quickly here. They've still got to go through 3 players. Number 5 in Dave, looking to try and cross over towards the site. There might be a couple of players inside. Or does he spot the pace of Punker? Yes, he does. Takes down 1. So now in towards the back of Warehouse. It's going to get a little bit meaty as Zachary is going to get shot in the back there. So now 2 versus 2 now. As always, another kill comes through. Rudy and Stormzy combining for kills. So now it's all on JMW. JMW gets the first one. 13 seconds left on the clock. It looks as though Rudy's going to chal it. Jack, he's just going to try and stay alive, but unfortunately he's not going to have enough time for the defuse. Rudy, apologies. 1 versus 1, and he does manage to get the kill as well. So a big round as mentioned, Pablo, for Black Square GG. They're down but not out.
Yeah, absolutely. Rudy trying to write off the memory of Gavutu as he tries to rewrite history in Berlin. Really good performance from him so far, and a big kills as well. And we've seen them both using the AR and the MP40 throughout the game. So flexible and definitely playing really well. But again, they just need to still, they've got to bet 2 rounds on the bounce. It does look like they've started to fly though. 2 players completely, 1 player positive, 1 balanced. But I think if Punker and Vodrich can play their lives a little better, this could be a much more difficult game for Iniquity Esports. This is going to be a huge round, though. Potentially, they don't want to go to a round 11, which could be ultimately come down to the coin toss of positioning.
Yeah, number 1 in Rudy. He is already out now. So into the next round, potentially he will go, if there even is one. So now it's going to be 2 versus 4. Punker and Vodrich, the 2 players flagged up. There's maybe needing to produce a little bit more. Or Dave spots Punker just underneath him. He's got a teammate nearby in Ben, but he's just going to drop down, go for the chal, and gets the kill as well. So now it's all on. Vodrich takes down Ben. He knows Dave is round the corner, but Dave makes no mistake about it. And Iniquity, they go 2-0 up. But as mentioned, Pablo, not the most emphatic search and destroy by these boys' standards, but they get it done nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say a lack of composure, but I'm just not sure that they went through the gears as we thought they might, and I think they were just getting the measure of the team. But absolutely, hats off to Black Square GG, who bring back a performance which is definitely, you know, a vast improvement on what we've seen in the Gavuto Hardpoint. A whole lot better, you know, good performance across the board from most of the players. Vodget's unlucky, you know, he wasn't able to get that first blood in any of the later rounds, which probably hamstrung his team. But other than that, just a reasonable performance. But they go into the Gavuto control against a team with just, you know, absolutely disgusting gun skill and a good brain for strategy. 2-0 down, and you would suggest this could be a 3-0 by any standards. But I mean, we can't write them off because Vanguard has produced surprise after surprise. We've been at this point before and ended up with a Game 5 S&D, so who knows? But yeah, you would suggest JMW enough in the bank right now to potentially, you know, have an early night and be able to put his feet up.
Yeah, so after that really brutal map one, they are going to have to go back onto Gavuto here. The boys of Black Square GG, and they're going to have to try and do it on this map that they got heavily destroyed on, especially in terms of kills. But it was a much better round there for Black Square GG, or map, sorry, should I say. They did show sparks of much more general understanding of Berlin Search. That Gavuto, obviously, it was close up until the midpoint, and then Iniquity Esports, I think they just pick their controllers up. They just entered a different gear that we're used to seeing this team kind of operate at normally. So you would expect going back onto this map now, Pablo. I mean, they could have another slow start, but you're thinking now, right, okay, these boys are probably going to want to get this done in 3.
I think the weird thing about the Gavuto was they got Black Square GG got absolutely outslayed from the start. So apart from P1, where the Black Square did okay, they kind of got like the majority of the time. They rotated to P2 quite nicely. They were getting absolutely bodied, but the boys from Iniquity weren't getting on the kill. They were just dropping them and then just not getting any time. So the time they did get was just, it made the game look closer. As soon as they started to actually get on the kill and started, you know, actually holding, not allowing the team of purple to breach and then rotating effectively, they just ran away with the game. And you would think that if they did that from the start, that would have been an even, you know, more dominant performance. But yeah, I just think they're slowly but surely coming into the series. It was a 6-4, you know, at times there was some, you know, it was interesting the way Black Square mixed it up. They were aggressive one game, they were super cautious the next. You know, they get trades. They did play reasonably effectively, but probably just enough in the tank. And when you saw Iniquity did raise the tempo a little bit, they dominated the round. So yep. I would suspect this Gavuto is going to be very similar to the first one, but they're going to come out the blocks flying. I can't imagine that they're going to sit back.
Yeah, so we are loading in towards our Gavuto as the other timer just ticks down. But yeah, you're looking to the boys of Black Square GG, especially Rudy and Storms, when they started contributing more in the search, which they did. They obviously had the most kills out of the 4 of them. They managed to grab a huge amount of rounds. So we're looking to the likes of those boys, especially in another respawn after how brutal the first one was, to try and pull their finger out in this one. And Iniquity, they are looking to try and get it done in 3. If you guys did miss any of the previous maps, it was 250 to 115 on the Gavuto hardpoint in this series, and 6-4 on the Berlin Search and Destroy. So Iniquity, they are going to be the first team on the attacking side on Gavuto, and already Zachary straight out the gate, 2 kills to his name, and that progression already starting to come through.
Yeah, and I mean, this kind of favours the attacking team. They can obviously get to that position. If they get top out especially, this can be problematic, and you would suggest this is a great opportunity for them to get some time over towards A, and JMW just being an absolute demon over towards this A zone. But Zachary 4-1, and they've taken a solid chunk of that first, the entire tick. You would suggest them A zone probably not got very long left to live, and already the boys in purple on the back foot. There's 27 lives, plays 23, and this is quite an early bit of dominance from Iniquity and Meiji. I mean, it's not looking great from Black Square. Going to have to up the pace and up the accuracy if they want to contest.
Yeah, and a quick shout as well to Mr. SPW with the host of 9. Thank you very much, brother. Hope you are well. So, Iniquity Esports at the moment, they do have that first tick. The B1, though, is coming through with Zachary all the way over here. They've got to be careful, though, because a lot of teams opt to kind of fall back on this B point. There's one that they can try and hold out a little bit longer for, but you can see those red arrows at the moment with Zachary on the point. JMW and Ben just watching over the top of him. It's going to be incredibly difficult for the man in Rudy to try and transition over. He will try and finally get over towards the point, but Vodrich has got to hit this flank quickly. Going to take down one. There's still another one in Jack lurking. Can he get the kill onto him as well? No, he can't. Jack has absolutely none of that, but Zachary is going to get taken down out of the hill, but with JMW now on a 5, it's looking a bit bleak here for Black Square GG, trailing by 9 lives, Pablo, but they need to really try and restabilize it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've still got number 4, JMW, just looking to see out the very remainder of the most difficult hill. And this is not looking great. We're 1 minute 56, and it's going to be 18 lives, plays 9, a double life advantage for Iniquity Esports, and only 1 tick really remaining on A. This is going to be a very difficult game, a very difficult 1 minute and 40 seconds for the team. Really, really on the struggle bus right now in Black Square GG. So a stellar performance required, and I just can't see it coming. The boys in red are just absolutely all fired. JMW's on a 10-2. So they definitely feel himself. We're seeing Zachary pull out the dance moves,
Giving me motion
spinning
sickness
around on the beach. You know, he's got his Mai Tais, he's got his deck chair, his feet are up, and he's going to be taking round 1 in 2 ticks time. So huge performance so far. Black Square, 2 players left, Major, with 1 minute 16 on the board. Quite a dominant performance so far.
And this is what we feared, really, because that was a very, very solid round from Iniquity, and it is the attacking round as well that they managed to take. And from what we've seen so far, the attacking side probably the less preferred with Gavuto and that B side, but I suppose Black Square GG, they kind of made that mistake, Pablo, of letting them grab the B site potentially a little bit too soon, because it was one where they had the opportunity to kind of retreat back, kind of shell in and allow Iniquity to maybe go for the A point, but just by picking that A point to defend first, they were always making it difficult on themselves, and the fact that obviously Punker at the moment is struggling as well for some kills right off the rip. It was a round that you do worry for Black Square right in this map number 3.
Yeah, and they've completely stacked over towards A. You know, they haven't even tried to get any map control across the middle. They're not even looking towards that P1 area to try and get control, and this could be a problem for them, as we've got a player, number 1 in Dave. You know, he's in that dangerous position.
Oh,
you see him absolutely gun players down. He's on a 5 spree. He's got a glide. Zachary's there on a 5 spree. Right now, they are truly dominant, and right now, Black Square GG just look a little lost at sea, mate. Look like they haven't played an awful lot of Gavuto. This could be very dangerous right now.
Yeah, and when you've got these kind of quality players with an assault rifle, Jack is just demonstrating exactly what he can do with it, and that combined streak at the moment, I believe if my math's correct, is 16 between those boys. What a moment for these guys, as they are just getting cut down every single time they even try get out of spawn. Black Square GG, my goodness, they are really, really struggling here. It is a absolute brutal control. And Dave with the thumbs up. Look at him. He's saying, bring it on, bring me more. There's every single player into the burner. A little bit of windy shots by his standards on that occasion. But, I mean, Black Square GG, at this point, what are they thinking in comms, Pabs? Because they are getting battered.
Man, it's probably, you know, the communication's probably a little out of control. They're obviously not able to call effectively because they're being pinged from a number of places. They can't really get a cohesive bit of control. I mean, that's the other problem they're going to face. The Ordnance is going to come out and push them back. So not a great deal. They really probably want to push on one player as a unit, or at least try and get a pinch just to try and force, you know, give themselves a little bit of geography. The problem they face, and this is the same problem they did when they tried to take A, is they're just stacking the kill. Feeding it time after time. It's insane plays, and they're not getting any control across mid. So you've got number 3 there, Ben Wilson, just waiting for a chance to just destroy everyone. And Iniquity Esports with a really dominant performance. But you've really got to look to Black Square GG, just not a very clever way to play. And just looked a bit lost in this match, to be honest.
Yeah, and when you've got Dave giving you thumbs up and bopping people over the head with a pistol, you know, knowing what Dave is like, he is wanting to get this one done as soon as possible, and they are really starting to make sure that that is going to be the case. So again, Black Square GG in a respawn, really struggling to look for kills at the moment, even just kind of the fundamentals, just to work their way up towards the map. They're up against a team with an incredible amount of gun skill, especially in that medium to long range section. And it looks as though they are going to have to work some magic here. They're going to need a reverse sweep in the series, and they're going to need a reverse sweep in the control. As Dave in towards bottom boat he goes, only able to get some shots in and 1 kill. Jackie's going to manage to grab one onto Punker, so a much better round here from the boys of Black Square GG, but you can see where Rudy is playing Pablo. He's so passive, almost literally in the back of his spawn here, so if they do decide to stack that side over towards B, he might be incredibly overwhelmed if he's not careful.
Yeah, I mean, they're reliant entirely on the three boys over towards A doing a great defensive job. And again, it did look like Iniquity just kind of repeating the same kind of strategy. They did kind of stack A way too heavy, maybe a little complacent because they feel like gun skill is just so good. And right now, number 2, Zachary, is going to be on the point without a great deal of backup right now. And this is the opportunity where Black Square need to respond in kind. And they are trying to push out and trying to get a little bit of leverage. And right now, you can see that spread across mid, but it's really given Iniquity Esports, if they're able to get kills, a good opportunity to get a lot of time on this hill. And we're already a tick and a half over on probably the more difficult of the zones. So again, I just don't think this is a great strategy from the team in purple. And you know how reliable Iniquity are. JMW is not a stupid player, and right now they've got that beach side covered, and it's going to be a problem for the team in purple, especially if they get B, and then they're going to potentially be on that team wipe 1 life, 2 life advantage to Iniquity Esports, and an advantage all over again. And despite this, the first time we've seen Black Square GG look like they're playing okay, and they're still being dominated.
Yeah, Stormzy did manage to get a glide bomb, so you never know. That might be the light at the end of the tunnel that they might need if they are going to get something going in this map. Zachary already looking to try and disrupt a few spawns as he takes a couple of bullets and will fall. Jack is going to be there nearby. Now on a 4 streak. Jack also looking for streaks, and Vodrich much better from him. And Zachary just taking the absolute piss with 360s is going to fall. So now Black Square GG, they do have a good opportunity here to make this one work. But now the glide bomb's coming through, and the players in boat pretty much dead to rights. So Stormzy going to get taken down. The trade's going to come through potentially. Yep, so Rudy able to take down one. I think it's just kind of their responsiveness to adapt to what Iniquity are doing. We saw it when they were getting the B point. It felt like it took them almost 30, 40 seconds to even send somebody on a pinch up through P1. They're just incredibly unresponsive. Maybe it's just a case of Pablo of where Iniquity at the moment are just so dominant in kills. They rightly so feel almost scared to move anywhere on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. They just don't really have any kind of coherent response. Vodric's doing some nice work up top. He's managed to play his life, but I think he's about to get kind of, a deluge of red upon him. And they've just managed to just walk through that defense. And at 12 and 9 right now, the Ordnance is going to come out to try and see that player off the hill. He potentially is going to get that. Doesn't land it. And again, it's going to be the boys in red who have got that opportunity. And this is now an opportunity you would suggest for Black Square, the final one, to potentially try and see themselves back into this series. I can't see it happening. Iniquity just look incredibly strong right now. Nice to see Rudy in double figures, though. The team are shooting, as straight as possible. They have been a lot more involved in this than the latter stages of the hard point. But Major, again, look at that kill feed. It's a bot lobby.
Yeah, Iniquity Esports, they make no mistake about that series. 3-0 in the control, 3-0 in the series. And they are going to go back very happy indeed. Pretty much a standard job there for those boys as they take that group fixture game fairly comfortably. Pabs, it was one where they didn't really seem to get out of gear. Black Square GG, obviously they can still take a lot from it. Obviously looking at kind of the quality that Iniquity Esports, you can still look at that, go over VODs and try and obtain as much information out of that one as possible, because if that is what is to come for them potentially in this group, they will need to kind of to learn from these kind of moments. And Iniquity Esports, pretty stellar performance from those boys as you've come to expect from this roster.
Yeah, I mean, they prepare well. They practice heavily all week.
Yeah.
They're probably getting a good mixture of scrims between some of the top teams and some of the teams around and about, or just under their level. So it's probably a healthy mixture of scrims as well with the contacts and kind of connections the players have got. So they're going to stay solid and if anything improve. Black Square, probably a lot of going back to the drawing board. Obviously Hardpoint looking okay for them in terms of like they kind of got their rotations correct, but they just weren't killing anyone. They had 2 players on really quite appalling KDs, and that's going to have a huge impact. I know we talk about you don't need to go big in Hardpoint to win the game, but you need someone to go big. You still need to get clear out kill or hold kill, and that still means you repelling the team, and you can't have a player going in 2 or 3 deep and that being their final kill point and not getting time as well, because that was the other problem, was it didn't get time. So, and you've got Punker in the same position getting a small amount of kills. He got an absolute well at the time, but they can't rely on that because they do come up against a team who are in a more if they come up against Iniquity ESports again and they're in a more ruthless mood, they don't get 100 points out that Kavutu hard point.
Yeah.
It's a 250 to 3, not a 250 to 113 or whatever it was in the end. And again, S&D looked great for them. They looked like they kind of understood S&D. They a lot more, it looked like they were in the game a bit more. But then you look at Kavutu control, man, that is wild. Like, they were stacking that A side so heavily, time and time again. Like, no control over mid-map. They weren't checking out if anyone was in P1 looking to cut them in transition. Wild and mind-blowing at it. It was an insane plays. And then 2 attacking rounds, they gave the most difficult of the zones up. Just gave them up the B zone twice. So you can't expect to play at this level and succeed and do that kind of play. That's insane.
Yeah, so Iniquity ESports, pretty standard performance coming through from those boys. They are going to come out with the 3-0 victory over Black Square GG, but as mentioned, I'm sure the lads of Black Square GG, they can take some positives out of the series, obviously go away, try and learn from it and come back stronger, because there's still plenty more group games to be had. We are slowly entering a phase now where teams are starting to complete 2-3 out of the 6 games that they are going to have to complete before progressing in towards that bracket, and the top 4 teams are going to be the ones that go through into the bracket, I do believe. So there's still plenty of games to be had, and Black Square GG obviously going to be looking for those ones potentially, but we do have 1 game still remaining, guys. It will be coming up very, very shortly. It will be 8 o'clock that the game is scheduled for, so if you do want to dip out, grab some food and come back, the stream will still be live, we'll still be here, just in the background as we sort out the relevant graphics and all that good stuff. But it is going to be
the dog.
Oh, yeah, Pablo, take Mr. Zeppelin out, have a chill. I'm hungry, I'm going to grab some food, I think. But yeah, it will we'll be back very, very shortly, guys, just after this small break. And it is going to be the boys of Clutch Rain, who we saw have a very good weekend in the elite groups. And they are going to be up against Corrupt Light. And that is a roster that we also know too well. The Dutch boys, obviously previously on Raw, I do believe off the top of my head in Resto. Who I don't think was, but we've got Devil, Swogy, and Afraidable. So we've got a couple of memorable names in that one, and obviously the Clutch Rain lads and Toki, Isaac, Twiz, and they've got a new addition in Mr. Fudzy. So there'll be a roster to keep an eye on, and that game will be at 8 o'clock, guys. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in around half an hour, as the stream will still be live, and we will be back just then to give you another ACCL banger.
You're saying words I can't avoid. You put a stop to all the noise. Even in the dark, you
I'm fine. Don't break until you're mine. Open me up inside. Take my mind. Trust me, I'm just behind. I know you're seeing time. I'll never leave your side. Take my mind, make me believe I'm fine. Don't break until you're mine. Open me up inside. Take my mind, trust me, I'm just behind. I know you're seeing time. I'll never leave your side. I could feel the weight of it all pressing on my shoulders. And for every demon I fought, it seemed they got stronger till I couldn't recognize who I'd become. Lost myself trying to be someone I'm not, but it's darkest right before the dawn. Though we bend, we will not be broken. Stood on the beach in that hot summer sun. Looked to the sky, said enough was enough, 'cause where you are is where you belong. Though we bend, we will not be broken. Though we bend, we will not be broken. Though we bend, we will not be broken. Don't believe what they say about fate, 'cause it's all on us. Too false to the lives we make, and break through the darkness till we cannot recognize who we've become. Things they may change, but we remain resilient. It's darkest right before the dawn. Though we bend, we will not be broken. Stood on the beach in that hot summer sun. Looked to the sky, said enough was enough, 'cause where you are is where you belong.
pushing our boundaries, but you should already know that often we turn but we're tired. Can't sleep in the bed that we made, so we set the mattress on fire. Cause we'll do whatever it takes. That I'm gonna see something stupid and you'll probably take it to heart. Kissing goodbye like it's ruined, cause this time I took it too far. Come on darling, have a little faith. Come on darling, have a little faith. There's no need for us to walk away. We'll find another way. If we just have slurring words with no meaning. We've had a little too much. As conversations get heated, we're growing cold to the touch. We toss and we turn but we're tired. Can't sleep in the bed that we made, so we set the mattress on fire. Cause we'll do whatever it takes. That I'm gonna see something stupid and you'll probably take it to heart. Kissing goodbye like it's ruined, cause this time I took it too far. Come on darling, have a little faith. Come on darling, have a little faith. There's no need for us to walk away. We'll find another way. If we just have faith. If we just have faith. If we just have faith. If we just have
Baby, get lost in this moment, burning bright in the night sky. Said we could get lost in this moment, coming alive in the nighttime.
Baby, get lost in this moment, burning bright in the night sky. Said we could get lost in this moment, coming alive in the nighttime.
Baby, get lost. Baby, get lost in this moment. Baby, get lost. Baby, get lost.
You say one day forever. We're falling down. We need it now. You say you need it, you're better off. And we're falling down for us. We are lucky that we found each other now. 'Cause I know that we could have a long run down this. I know we could have this all night long. And I'm falling down, yeah, I'm falling for your love. 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 See your diamond life, it gave me hope. So much to love again. See your golden heart, it gave me trust. To trust this world again. You say one day forever. We're falling down. We need it now. You say you need it, you're better off. And we're falling down for us. We are lucky that we found each other now. 'Cause I know that we could have a long run down this. I know we could have this all night long. And I'm falling down, yeah, something's missing, running out of love. But you're my one escape, and I can't give you up. I just wanna hold you. I wish I never told you. I feel us drifting. Don't question what we got. Can we take another shot? I hate this distance. I want you to feel my love more than anything before. I want you to feel my love. Want you to feel my love. I want you to feel my love more than anything before. I want you to feel my love. 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 Even when you hold me close, you feel so far away. Used to miss me, now I'm wishing things could be the same. I just wanna hold you. I wish I never told you. I feel us drifting. Don't question what we got. Can we take another shot? I hate this distance. I want you to feel my love. Feel my love more than anything before. I want you to feel my love. Want you to feel my love. I want you to feel my love more than anything before. I want you to feel my love. Want you to feel my love. Want you to feel my love more than anything. Want you to feel my love. Want you to feel my love. Want you to feel my love. I want you to feel love. Want you to feel my love.
She loves everyone before she meets them. Her words spoken free, no judgment beneath them. She dons a sundress in the dead of winter, but that's alright. She thinks pancakes are meant just for dinner, but that's alright. She takes her shoes off and runs to the water, and I don't ask why. She thinks rules are for interpretation, and I can't deny. Yeah, she sees the world so differently. She doesn't think before she speaks. I wish we all could have a try to see the world through her eyes. She paints pictures of me with her fingers in black and gray. She likes subtitles in foreign languages, that's okay. out into the ocean, no wish in mind. She grabs a stranger's hand without permission. We don't ask why. And maybe someday she'll understand the way I see her. And maybe someday we'll be so lucky to be her. She sees the world so differently. She doesn't think before she speaks. I wish we all could have a try to see the world through her eyes. And I can't deny, yeah. She sees the world so differently. She doesn't think before she speaks. I wish we all could have a try to see the world through her eyes.
One more morning, overthinking, all the noise drowning out your mind. You don't believe that you'll get your own back for all the shade covering your light. Just one more morning, overthinking, before everything fades away and your dreams get led astray. Follow me, follow me, follow me, before you up and walk away, running circles on me yesterday. Follow me, follow me, follow me. You think it's over, but take a hold of all the dreams that you thought were gone. What you wanted ain't complicated, 'cause you've been going for it all along. Just one more morning, overthinking, before everything fades away and your dreams get led astray. Follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. Before you up
What up, squad? I made sure I unmuted my microphone that time. We are good to go again for another ACCL Super League fixture, this time with some more names that were very well known with Pabs. Obviously, the boys are Clutch Rain up against Corrupt Light, and hopefully we get a bit of a closer series with this one, because the last one obviously was a bit of a blowout, and with this one, obviously the boys are Clutch Rain. We saw them at the weekend and kind of what these lads are made of. So Corrupt Light, by their standards, they've got a bit of a mountain to climb up against these boys, you would expect, but hopefully we can get some good close series and maps on this one.
Absolutely. We've seen over the last two big tournaments, really, the Clutch Rains, Tide, Toki, Twist, Fudzy, and Isaac have played really well. Obviously, the three, have played, really well, and just seem to have come back into their own. Separately, last year, they had kind of good performances individuals on different teams. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how these develop over the year. I think they're probably going to stick together for the foreseeable, and honestly, I think they could go on to be consistent features in that top 8, top 12 kind of bracket, which would be great for them as well, and allow them to push on even further. Corrupt Light, we've seen, almost, I would say, 3/4 of this team, at the very least, in some detail. We've watched them, time and time again across a variety of rosters, and know what they're capable of. I would suggest, though, we haven't seen them in Vanguard, so obviously we can be made to eat our words, Major, again. But I would suggest that this is going to be a very, very their first real test of the season, and it's going to be a really big mountain for them to climb. This is a very solid side they're coming up against, and regardless of how straight they shoot, or how comfortable they are with the rotations or with the strategies, that the team in Clutch Rain are going to probably be, that little bit quicker and that little bit more accurate than they are.
Yeah, and so it looks as though Broke is actually filling in. Let me just check. Let me just double check who it is for. Because obviously Broke, Swogy, Devil, and Destroy, I think, was the 4 from Ra last year. And then they also played for, was it Katana?
Clarity.
Or was it Clarity? Yeah, it was Clarity Black roster at some point as well. So we know what these boys have got, but you mentioned we haven't seen them on Vanguard, but you would anticipate still the fundamentals of their game would still be there. We saw Destroy play the other night, I believe, didn't we? So he did pretty well individually in that one, from what I can recall. So you wouldn't anticipate it's going to be a complete washout. You would anticipate that Corrupt Light, obviously carrying it over from Cold War, would still have something to potentially cause what would be considered an upset if you're looking on paper at these guys.
No one's going to be bowled over at the prospect of them taking a map or two potentially, but I think people would be surprised if they were to go on to win the series. And again, we've been here before where we've said this, and then the Vanguard has thrown up some absolute beasts. But if when we do go to look at the series and how the maps have been gone through the veto process, we are on what we would consider a very, very kind of standard map rotation here in terms of the series that's laid out in front of us, and that would play more into the hands of the more experienced and the kind of, you would suggest, higher seeded team. So it's not, don't get me wrong, we're not like saying this is 100% blowout for Corrupt Light. They have got players who are very capable, who've got a lot of experience, understand the fundamentals of the game to an extent. It's just they are up against a team even last year. When you look at Toki and Twiz, I think, did they play for X's Foxes at some point last year and just look, they look very good. Mightn't have been X's Foxes.
It wouldn't have been X's Foxes, I don't think.
No, was the Clutch? Was it the Clutch Rain side?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were Clutch Rain last year as well. Yeah, I think it was
Clutch Rain with Rye Beams last year. So and they were able to get very deep into that Val tournament, and they obviously done okay in 2Ks before now. So, and we know they've drafted in Fudzy, so we know that he can play. What quality he brings. So they're a solid side. But we've got to go kind of down the bookies route and just suggest that Clutch Rain may be a little bit too strong for Corrupt Light, but this Vanguard has thrown up a ton of surprises already.
Yeah, and obviously one thing that we can, if we're going to find like a small kind of dent in the armour of Clutch Rain, it would be kind of with the addition of Fudzy. As good as Fudzy is, he's been previously on that Team Ricochet roster, which has now kind of gone kaput by the looks of it. So kind of that chemistry, you're still looking. Maybe there might be a bit of tweaks and stuff that they'll need to make, but yeah, you would anticipate still Clutch Rain, even with the addition of Fudzy in place of Zero. You're probably not really going to look past them too much. Obviously, we've seen Fudzy multiple times. We know how good he is as a player, and obviously playing with the likes of Lucy and kind of those experienced heads as well. It's only going to have done him good, to be honest, as kind of teams kind of feel out their various positions and where they kind of grow their understanding of the game. And obviously we're coming now to a stage in the game where the fundamentals and the kind of general understanding, obviously control's still relatively new, but when you look at hard points and search, most players individually anyway have kind of an understanding what's going on. And obviously when you get these players at certain levels, oh there you go, Mr. Rybeam's in the chat for you there, Pablo. Yeah, it's one where you anticipate even new players kind of switching in and out. They'd still kind of they'll know what they're doing. I think is the best way of saying it. That it won't be a case of like Fudzy's not going to have a clue what he's operating on the map, so he'll still be operating to his normal strengths. You would anticipate, anyways.
Honestly, I'm sure he's not going to hear it, but I think he's strongest when he's coming into a new team. You know, I've cast over him a couple of times, and they've always tended to be on different rosters. This was probably the first year where he'd been in a settled roster for any period of time last year. I think he spent some time with CD, and then he flipped over again to a number of other teams. He always seems to do really well at the start, so I would expect him, honestly, to go big in this game. He's really like. He's not really a fill-in as such, even if he's joining this team on a more permanent basis. His understanding of the game and the way he plays is really good, and he just seems to fly into teams and do okay. So I would expect him to do better than you would suggest, maybe just kind of a random sub to come in. He's been in this position plenty of times over the last 18 months or so, and yeah, I just expect that he'll probably fit quite well. And I think he's probably obviously scrimmed and played against them and potentially with some of these players as well. So they're probably going to be okay. Again, it's just going to be interesting to see how Corrupt Light just approach this, and is this going to be it potentially could be very similar to the game we've just cast over, to be honest.
Yeah, and obviously looking at the maps as well, Pabs, we've got a kind of a set of maps that I think we're starting to become used to. You mentioned it obviously before we went live. This is kind of like a standard, really, isn't it? With Gavutu, Berlin, and Tuscan. It's kind of like a bit like a medium balance almost of like those maps that require a lot of pace and aggression, but then also those maps that require kind of the structured players to also have their input. And we're seeing kind of obviously Berlin is pretty much a staple one, if not two, almost every single series. And that Gavutu control is definitely something that we're seeing quite common now, especially in place of that Tuscan control. A lot of people do tend to be favouring Gavutu.
Yeah, I mean, Tuscan control's got that. The B is just horrible to get. It's just as an attacking team, it can be really, really difficult to get. So I think there's just a little. I mean, I feel like there's more balance in Tuscan, but I think as an attacking team, I think if this is your choice, I think you're going to feel more comfortable potentially getting this B. We've seen it already this evening, especially if you're a stronger side. And I don't know, it's just obviously, I mean, at the end of the day, the player's voice speaks loudest, and they're picking Gavutu control more and more. So there is obviously, I mean, I'm guessing it's from the attacking perspective. But I mean, we are seeing that as kind of a set series, and that's probably largely in part to the fact that there's bugger all maps to choose. I mean, now they've got the control and they've got an opportunity to rotate Bocage out. So again, you know, the players voting with their feet. They don't want to play. No one wants to play Bocage hard points. It's horrible. Its strategy is difficult. You have to have like almost a sixth sense for spawns. You know, you spend quite a lot of time just trying to block spawns and not accumulating points. The games are just all, you know, between teams with a reasonable skill disparity, they're always a bit close, and they're probably closer than they should be. You know, you're starting to believe that a 50, point lead is like in any other map would be like 150 point lead. So it's a weird map. So I think the players voting with the feet. We've seen a lot more Tuscan and Berlin. I think if there was another control that was more balanced, we'd probably see Tuscan and Gavutu rotated out of that control as well. But I mean, it's a lovely set of maps. We haven't got anything that's overly quick. The Tuscan and Gavutu fairly similar geography in terms of the size. They do lend themselves to ARs quite well, so it feels there's a bit more balance than that 3 SMG meta you see in Bocage. And Gavutu controls got just enough by way of strategy for teams to actually be able to dominate a map without having to be like absolute slayers on the map. So yeah, it's a nice set of hills, but it's unfortunate because it is the only set of maps that realistically are getting chosen at the minute. Yeah, so we're just waiting on a few more players to join up on the lobby, guys, and then we should be good to go for map number 1. And obviously that map number 1, Pablo, Tuscan, it's a good kind of in between, really, isn't it? When we look at it for kind of pace and strategy, it's almost like I've referred to it anyways as almost like the warm-up map for a series. It's kind of it's a good ground setter to see kind of where teams are at, especially like the likes of the faster paced players, because it's one that, I mean, if you don't get a double Tuscan now, at least 2 Tuscans in a series, it's very, very odd to see. We saw it the other day where I don't think we had a Tuscan, and we had kind of a double Gavutu
I think it was maybe 1 Berlin and like a double Bocage, I think, for one of the other
Yeah.
series that we saw previously. So it's a good kind of middle ground to see kind of where these boys are actually. You mentioned kind of Corrupt Light. We know some of the players on that roster, but we haven't seen them in Vanguard, so it'll be kind of a good kind of feeler to see where these boys are at, because obviously coming up against Clutch Rain, it's one where they're going to have to bring a lot to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tuscan doesn't have any. There's nothing too novel that you need to do. There's no kind of like the strategies are fairly set in stone. The rotations are fairly, in terms of how teams approach when they're going to rotate and who they're going to commit to the next hill and who they're going to leave behind. Are pretty set in stone. It's not like, you know, you look at some of the maps in Cold War and then even further back. You know, you had like novel maps where there was these huge ground to cover. So I mean, previously you would have had Moscow, and you were looking at that P2 to P3.
Yeah.
You know, from back plat all the way across the back library. You know, that was like St. Petersburg again, where you would get that cafe to hazmat. These huge. You're not really getting those kind of coverages in this game so far. So Tuscan is like. You can't have like a novel strategy as such, so it's a great barometer for seeing where teams are in terms of gun skill, in terms of their ability to read where players are going to take headies and things like that. So it's that perfect median, so it's a nice map in that sense. Berlin Hardpoint on the other hand is the larger, like that Moscow vibe to it, but again it doesn't have a huge geography. I think it's you know, your biggest push is kind of, is it from P3 to P4 really, speaking. So I think it's kind of like back office to warehouse almost.
Yes.
That's your largest run.
Yeah.
And it's not a huge distance. Most teams are already heading over to the 20 seconds. You're not seeing that at Wild. So again, I think it's to do with this kind of diluted map pool that we've been left with. Hopefully it'll improve as you see DLCs drop. I mean, that's the plan realistically. But again, Major, I mean, some of the DLC that we're talking about is just rotating old maps into a new game, because it would appear no one can design a map anymore.
Shots fired, boom, boom. And we should be going into some actual shots fired very shortly, guys. We are now loading into map number 1, and a quick shout as well to King, Semtex, and Felix as well for the follows, and Stunner as well. Snack Stunner with the follow. Thank you very much, buddy. So map number 1, Tuscan, is pretty much ready. Fingers crossed everyone can load in without any issues. But yeah, you're looking at kind of these Clutch Rain lads, Pablo, and you're looking kind of at the raw firepower that this roster has. Obviously, when they had 0, when they got momentum, they were a very, very good team to stop. So you're looking to the new addition in Fudzy to kind of be a bit of a shoe-in for these guys to almost bring more firepower to what is already a very, very dangerous roster.
Yeah, big voice as well. I don't know. You know, obviously Zero, I'm not sure just how he was in terms of communication, but obviously Fudzy's a vocal character, so I'm expecting, you know, a little bit more by way of communication as well, potentially, if that is the case. But yeah, we're probably going to see Clutch Rain, you know, dominate quite heavily. But it was just really more interested to see how Corrupt Light get on and how they fared. And already we're seeing Broken Phrasable dropping, we're seeing that kill. If you go back and forth, we do expect to see that in a P1 Tuscan, but Clutch Rain already taking that bit of time, and you know, they may well have started on probably the better side. But again, Major, I'm sure you would argue the case that it is sensible to hold from this side, as well as you are able to get a lot more points.
Yeah, this is one that I've seen kind of, some players have different preferences, but whenever we've casted kind of these games, it almost feels like the team who is spawning the side that Afraidable is now kind of running through do tend to hold a huge chunk of time. I think kind of being able to get on that first head glitch is a really big factor in that part. So obviously pushing from that side, you can get straight on that, almost that god heady that everyone refers to as where you only kind of see literally the top of their head. And if you get an automaton on there right off the rip, which you tend to see a lot of teams do, it's a really, really difficult position to break. And although Corrupt Light, for the time being, they are actually going to flip the spawns off that P1. The boys of Clutch Rain held a decent amount of time, but it looks as though they're going to try and throw a spanner in the works by trying to win this P2 rotation, as well as Broke, who is a man who we haven't casted for a while, has managed to grab a nice couple of kills. Can't quite grab the third, but Corrupt Light, for the time being, they've held well, but they need to actually get some time to kind of reflect kind of what the efforts are in and around the hill at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. They're keeping, you know, toe-to-toe, in some cases better, as you see Afraidable and Resto getting, you know, 11 kills between them. And you know, you can't argue with that kind of slaying power, but they've got to turn it into time. This has been a great opportunity for them to do it, and they've done a good job, and they're going to bring it, you know, almost level. In fact, they'll probably just take a slight lead. Ken broke with a fortunate one there, as Twiz decides, I think he might have added an empty clip right there, but he is going to be able to get the 2. And this is going to be a good test now to see just where the boys from Corrupt Light are, because this is a difficult hill to get, you know, not only to get a hold of, but to get your foot on it and to maintain. Obviously, it's easy to push through fire, it's easy to try and get around the back, and obviously there's a lot of entrance and egress, and it'll be nice to see, and you can see already just how difficult it is to get set up in a defensive position. So let's just see how Corrupt Light and whether they can break this, and this could be a big moment in the game, really early doors as well.
Yeah, and an important kill from Isaac there, because Afraidable, who had a really good start, was just coming up towards streaks, but he's been stuck out the back here, Isaac, for a while. It looks as though he will finally get traded out, but the boys of Clutch Rain, not a huge amount of time to kind of reflect their efforts on the hill. It looks as though Broke is going to try and push out this left-hand lane, which we tend to see a lot of players do, and nice kills take down Fudzy on that occasion as he tries to work his way down that field side, but already the players pushing through towards the next hill. So it's going to be one of them, but Swogi, nice work, able to grab 1 kill. He will get shot in the back by Toki, but out the back, Afraidable still kind of roaming, still trying to be a bit of a nuisance here. Fudzy, though, the new man for the roster, sniffs him out, grabs the kill, and the boys of Clutch Rain now in a good position. Try and hold some time here on this Churchill as Resto off the top, not going to be able to grab that one. Another important kill coming through from Fudzy. So the first wave of players, at least for the time being, has been stifled, but it looks as though they're going to have to do at least this maybe once or twice more.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this hill as being almost kind of like you will see at least 2, potentially 3 waves if you're able, and that's a lot of firepower to hold off, and it's gonna, you know, you're gonna have to rack up some big numbers. Really interesting play from Twiz. He was able to get down the back. Not only did he drop the player that was over towards P3, but the other player wasn't able to get onto the hill to get the full 20, so they only got about 8 seconds from a potential 21 when Clutch Rain were nowhere near the hill. And it's those little tiny encounters that allow Clutch Rain to just not only be, you know, 50 odd seconds clear, but it's stopping Corrupt Light from getting any kind of scrap time. You know, you've just seen how dominant the team in blue have been over towards this Church Hill, you know, leaving Corrupt Light with absolutely 0 scrap time of which to get, and they're just looking very mobile. You know, their movement's looking really good, and they're firing on all cylinders. Right now, we are seeing some good score lines come on out of Afraidable and Swogi, but that's just not being converted to time. We talk about this all, you know, over and over again, Major. You know, if you've got to convert these kills into time, or you're going to get punished. And right now, Clutch Rain with a small lead, but man, look at the scoreline again. Fudzy's not quite going off 9 and 10. Twiz is 9 and 15 with only 24 seconds, and Toki as well. So plenty in the tank and plenty of gears to go through for Clutch Rain. But right now, Corrupt Light doing a fine job of staying in this game.
Yeah, it feels like almost the structured play of Clutch Rain is what's giving them this scoreline at the moment, because they're not short on kills. Isaac is really carrying the boys at the moment in terms of those engagements and kills, and he's 1 away from a glide bomb now, but Afraidable, big kill, takes him down. No glide bomb comes through, and already this rotation over towards the new hill. We've seen this on multiple times, where this rotation from P5 over to P1 can be crucial for a lot of time on this hard point, and it will be the scrap time going in favour of Clutch Rain, but Corrupt Light are going to try and push their way through as Isaac takes down 1. There is a gunfight going down over towards that side again as Twiz is able to win yet another one. It looks as though number 6 Swogi is going to be lurking nearby, and he shuts down Twiz on that occasion. Broke grabs 1 as well, looks to snap onto Isaac as well, and some clean shots there from Broke, the man who had a really, really good Cold War season, Pabs. Looks as though he's all too familiar and transferring the beams once again over to this P1. But Corrupt Light still trailing by around 60, so they're going to need to hold this for quite a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking reasonably difficult across the board, unless you're Isaac, who's having an absolute blast on this map. This has been an Afraidable, you would suggest, as well, who's got a solid chunk of time, as well as getting, you know, quite the, you know, the majority of the kills. He's only second in terms of the kill leader, but yeah, it's been a difficult game for everyone else, but it's not really been reflected in the scoreline. I think you're correct. I think that structured play from Clutch Rain is possibly keeping them, you know, 50 seconds clear, and they've done really well. You see this again, they're just going to capture the remainder of that scrap time to P1, and we can already see the fights go out. And right now, it is going to be the defense from Corrupt Light as they look to try and stop this push through. Right now, you could suspect number 6 there. It is going to be dropping his Swogi. Does fall to Toki, so good play. And he is in a great position to cause even more mayhem as he stalks around that top church area. This could be a big kill. He doesn't able to get it. Toki is going to get tagged up, and he is going to get dropped as he does go prone. But great play. by both teams so far. But you just feel that Corrupt Light, if they don't get able to get one big hill, that they're potentially just gonna, it's gonna be death by 1,000 cuts right now, as they are just behind by one hill rotation.
Yeah, and Isaac, the big part of that again, 26 and 11 for Isaac, as he managed to get what I would believe was a 7-kill streak in the end of that. So streaks are available for him if he does decide to use them. We tend to see a lot of teams use it over towards this Fountain Hill, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not Isaac is going to decide to invest them relatively shortly. Toki able to grab a pick in middle map, as those blue arrows of Clutch Rain going to try and progress their way up a little bit. It will be Broke just watching the cross. Does get some info that Toki has now crossed, so really the opportunity for Isaac to maybe invest the glide bomb as they try and collapse inside the hill. But there's another pinch coming through from Afraidable. He's got some really good timing here. Big gunfight takes down one, and the man over towards the steps will fall in his teammate. So Afraidable looking for more, but Footsy in the back. Footsy with one, Footsy with two, and that is exactly what he can offer the boys of Clutch Rain as they look to try and push over towards that 200-point mark. And now this is where it gets dangerous, Pabs. The boys of Corrupt Light, they've got to try and structure themselves here and resist the temptation to try and push every single hill as quickly as possible, because Clutch Rain are the kind of team that will punish you for that.
Yeah, they will get set up and get kills, and you can see that Isaac again, he does get the TK on Footsy, who was one off a streak. He is still one. That's obviously not going to count, but 18 and 15, he was a 15 and 15 at that point, and he's able to go on a really, really important streak as we see Broke and Swoky team up to make the kill feed go red. 209 to 124 though, as we go into a set of hills that you would argue is, the preferred set of hills for Clutch Rain. They had a monumental church, and this is a worrying time if you are the team in red, as the team in blue are very, very comfortable over towards this church hill, and they're already getting kills, outside of the hill as well. So this could be a problem, and I think they're going to realize that the team in red, Corrupt Light, is respawning towards the back of church, and a big fight is going to go down. And this could be a great opportunity if you are Corrupt Light to get back into this game and bring this back to again within 60, as it is 218 to 140.
Yeah, Resto watching this right hand lane. He's going to be a busy boy. There are a few blue arrows here. How many can he grab? There's one, there's two. Can he snap onto Toki for the third? Awesome. Toki just using the traditional drop shot. We don't tend to see it very often now with the movement system in COD, but Toki is able to grab one. But a big couple of kills coming through from Resto. This Corrupt Light again look to soak up. But Twiz still lurking here. He might try and pinch another 10 seconds or so if he can win this engagement in the corner. Checks it, but Broke has absolutely none of it. And those red arrows on the side of Corrupt Light, they are ready to go for the new hill. So Clutch Rain going to have to try and look to work their way through, whether it's from mid or from tile side. It looks as though they're going to commit a few players over towards tile side, but Swogy's here, able to grab one kill. Isaac is going to be there for the trade, as he's now one short of 30 kills at the moment. He's been a real driving force for Clutch Rain to be able to accumulate such a huge amount of time. But now they're on the hill. They clean out the remaining players inside, and now the boys of Corrupt Light, Pablo, they really need to pull their finger out and try and push this, but we know what this P5 is like. It is just an absolute barrage of nades and tacticals. It's so, so difficult to be organised on this hill.
Yeah, and they've kind of got themselves stuck into this kind of like feed into the top. They've got no one pushing mid, so this is going to be, relatively straightforward defense for the team in blue. Great kill by Broke, who's trying to mix things up and get his foot onto the hill, but right now you're just seeing a classic defense, and with no one pushing through mid, finally you're going to see Resto try and get to these stairs. This is going to be a difficult one. He needs to get this kill. He's going to empty that clip, gets one. Can he get the second? He transitions but can't make it, and with 3 seconds needed, finally get onto the hill, but the next hill is going to be absolutely vital. Someone got on for the final few seconds. Never mind. Clutch Rain with a, by the end of the game, a relatively easy win, but by no means a slap major. 250 to 184, respectable from Clutch Light, but a reasonable performance from the boys in blue.
Yeah, no, they had moments in that game, Corrupt Light, where specific rotations went in their favour, but just the waves of Clutch Rain players, they just they have the ability to punch through into hills whenever they commit to a hill on scrap time. They obviously have that ability in their locker to be able to push through as and when they almost decide to. And we saw it on a few of those hills where Corrupt Light, they had the rotation, they held off the first wave, and then Clutch Rain, they just regained. They grouped up very efficiently, and then they just pushed through. So a solid map from the boys at Corrupt Light, but I would say business as usual you'd come to expect from this Clutch Rain roster.
And man, you got to look, we said it earlier on, the Footsy, he enjoys coming into new sides. It's one of the things he's, he's almost like a utility player, what a player that can kind of slide into a team and fill a void, really, really well. He gets 25 kills, he gets a solid chunk of time, and really assists that team, almost looking like a player that's been with them for a while. So again, you've just got to look to the lad there for doing an absolute job in a new side, and you expect it out of him. He's done it plenty of times before. So again, it's just nice to see that player having a big moment in it. Over the last few weeks, it's been difficult for him. He's had a team that maybe not gelling together as well as they could, and that's been, one of the features of this Clutch Rain side is they do manage to assimilate players quite well, and they've always had a strong cast of characters in the team. So it's nice to see them playing well. Still a lot to take away for Corrupt Light, though. A lot of positives. They played really well. Hung, almost toe to toe with them in terms of kills, and they had some good rotations, just not able to hold on to the hill at times. Kind of got sliced through like butter, particularly when you take something like that P5, that final P5. They probably should have held on a bit longer. They kind of fed into the hill a bit too much from the same position, and it was already 30 seconds before someone tried to push mid-stairs. So again, maybe just go back to the drawing board and have a little rethink, but they're not doing too bad so far. But 1-0 down, it's not going to get any easier as the series wears on.
Yeah, so map number 1, guys, if you did miss it, was 250 to 184 to Clutch Rain, so they are now 1-0 up in this best of 5 in this ACCL group fixture. But obviously looking in towards the next map, Pabs, as Mr. Crookley, the man for yesterday. Well played yesterday, buddy. They're obviously an outfit, Corrupt Light, where they're trailing, so it's kind of, for us, it's kind of a segment to see whether or not they can redeem themselves on a map 2. We've seen multiple teams do it. Obviously, it's something where you go from a Tuscan very kind of fast-paced into a more structured map like Berlin. So those AR players, the likes of Broke especially, will be again kind of looking forward to that slightly slower pace, playing for picks, and you never know, they might be able to tie up this series with the help of this map.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've definitely got the skill. It's just whether they're going to have the plan B or the different strategies. This is going to be a great opportunity for them. Resto is going to get tagged up, but he does manage to put a bit of pressure towards the player at the back. And Smokey just wanders into bomb site from bad side and gets a kill. You can't allow that to happen. Where is the rest of Clutch Rain in support of the bomb planter? Crazy plays, and that potentially could be a big thing for Corrupt Light, but they do lose another player in Resto and Afraidable, so it's going to be a 3v2 in this first round, and that's a team wipe. I didn't even get to segue over to you, Major, as Clutch Range reverse the polarity of that map and take it and go 1-up in the series.
Yeah, it felt like a little bit of a fine margin in that one. Broke obviously put a lot of bullets into one player and obviously made the reads onto the second, but with the Automaton only having 25 bullets and the fire rate being so high, you miss a few bullets. Obviously, you run out of them for the next one, as I've fortunately discovered multiple times while playing 8. So I'll kill one person with all 25 bullets and then get absolutely crapped on when I'm reloading. So it will be Clutch Rain taking the opening round in the search and destroy. Now Corrupt Light going to be on the offensive on this one. We'll see where they decide to take the bomb. It is over towards this B site, so the cross has just been smoked temporarily as a stun comes through. Afraidable got to be careful though, because number 2 in Fudzy is there. But nice work from Resto over the top to grab the first blood. But now, where is that next pick going to lie? You can see it's going to be the same result as well for Isaac, as Resto gets yet another kill. Twiz is able to pick off 1. So it is now 2 versus 3. Toki and Twiz inside the hill, but Afraidable, big kill. Now puts Twiz in the 1 versus 3. Going to try and work his way in towards the site, but, oh man, now they know where he is. He'll do well to stay alive here. Shots into Afraidable. Can he grab the kill? Yeah, Twiz. Really good work. Second kill of the round. Broke is still lurking, just laying prone. It feels as though he's just going to wait until he hears that bomb is being defused. He's going to try and push his way out here, but to no avail. And Corrupt Light going to take an all-important round, Pablo. Although it's early doors, if they can keep pace with the boys of Clutch Rain, it's going to be a good sign for them for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. They've done some clever things that they probably should do at this level in S&D. They've made sure that they've got eyes on sight. They've got themselves reasonably well spread to cover any potential, mishaps, especially in terms of time. Obviously, not much long. There wasn't a lot of time left for Broke to be able to deal with that, so he gets dealt with. But again, a little bit longer, you would suggest if he goes around the back, he's going to be able to get the surprise on 2 of them. But great play from Corrupt Light to make this an interesting S&D and already perform at a level better than they were towards the end of the hard point. So good opportunity for them to pick things up. You would suggest if Broke's able to get into the game. Toki with an important first kill though. And we talk about this first blood all the time, Major, how vital it is in Berlin and potentially helping Clutch Rain to take the lead. It is going to be a 3v4 though.
Yeah, and a quick shout out to Mr. Ben Wilson, the man who had such a really good series from Ben, the previous one, and he's just dropped a sub. Thank you very much, Ben, for the support as always, brother. So nice work, boys. Iniquity, and it looks as though Clutch Rain are going to try and emulate that here in our second series. And Resto able to take down 1, but Toki makes no mistake about that one. They manage to grab the all-important final kill. They go 2-1 up, and also a quick shout out as well to I think it's Ventic and to Cod Nasty as well for the follows. Thank you very much, guys. But 2 good rounds coming through from the boys of Clutch Rain Pubs. They're obviously as you would kind of come to expect, pretty organised on Berlin, and obviously they're getting those all-important picks. Corrupt Light, you can see kind of the adaptations they're trying to make. Obviously, we saw it there with, I think it was Swogi that was trying to push through that middle map and try and make a play on the flank, but it's very difficult against this kind of roster, especially when like the big brains of Toki and Twiz are on the roster, kind of just to watch every single angle. It's really difficult to try and get a break sometimes, it feels like.
Yeah, you've just got to look how composed that round was for Clutch Rain. They just didn't fluster. They didn't look under pressure at any point. One player gets down, there's someone there for the trade, and then incomplete juxtaposition. That is a hell of a shot right there. Toki takes the head off Swogi, and he's trying to Toki with the nade as well. So big plays, 6-1 right now on a 4 streak. But yeah, just very composed play. And Clutch Rain just seem to be coming into their own a little bit, and this is going to be a big kill if Twiz is able to get it with only Broke last alive. Apologies, too many L's in that sentence, the Major. And just going to see Clutch Rain potentially be able to take this. It's going to be 23 seconds remaining on the clock. A lot of work for Broke to do, though, Major.
Yeah, and I assume he would have cacked himself a little bit as soon as he saw the glimpse of the Twiz sniper, but he does manage to get a kill onto Twiz. Toki sniper. Oh, and that is timing in a nutshell. Broke, I think, has done just about enough. He's not going to be able to grab the defuse here, and he is on a 5 streak, Toki. So this next kill is going to be important, but Broke does just about enough in that round to get Corrupt Light back into it in a round that was looking a little bit bleak. That obviously Broke, we see what he did. We did it in Cold War, and he's come up with a big round there to tie it back up to 2 rounds apiece.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons we talk about they have solid fundamentals. They understand S&D really well. Obviously, you know, most of the people watching this will be like, play the time. And he goes and does that. He gets the kill, though, more importantly, and leaves it in a 1v1, which just leaves that touch of doubt in the player's mind that he can't get the defuse. He's essentially going to get pushed. And we have this argument time and time again. I honestly think if you're in that position, just defuse. We see it all the time from players that do it and just get able to get that, you know, get the window round, even if it is kind of like, you know, potentially going to get pushed. But it's just worth hedging your bets because you're potentially going to lose the round anyway. And Broke just plays really, really well. And it's 2-all. And this is a completely different Corrupt Light team that we're seeing. And again, it's just really good plays. You would suggest, Major, if Swogi and Broke are able to get into the game a bit more or more effectively, and this could be a great round for Corrupt Light.
Swogi has been spotted. The shots from Isaac aren't going to be just enough on that occasion, but Toki has now picked up the bomb as he's going to try and progress up, and Isaac is going to manage to finalise that kill onto Swogi. So now the green light bomb is going down. Resto, they hear the ticking. Going to spot Fudzy on that occasion, and he's not going to win that gunfight. Excuse me. So now 2 versus 3. Isaac way towards the back of warehouse. Tend to see a lot of players use and Broken at tradable. And are they going to try and push in here? All that the first one around any second now. The first engagement's coming through. Toki takes down 1. So now it's all on Afraidable, and those shots reveal his position. And Clutch Rain, make no mistake about that round. And a good solid round there from the boys of Clutch Rain. Pablo, good patient play, got the picks, and fair enough. 3-2 up now.
Yeah, you know, you've got to look to this man here, Fudzy, taking up a really unusual position. He's kind of over to the right. I think it takes Afraidable by surprise. He's able to get that pick beyond the bomb site, and that also allows him to then, you know, turn around and look for players progression through that bottom mailroom area, and he's able to get picks again. So big play from Fudzy, who's 4-3 right now and having an awesome game. But right now it does look like Clutch Rain being heartily carried by Toki, who's 6 on a 6 streak, and he's 8-1. It's been an absolute monumental performance, and Corrupt Light really got to look, my days. Toki goes for the reach out and just decides to back up. You've really got to look to Broken Swogi, though. You know, they've had like a number of interactions and they are not getting the kills, and that is a worrying sign if you are a Corrupt Light, because they, you know, these players have got good gun skill and they are definitely capable of mixing it up. But right now, having a shocker in this Berlin S&D.
Yeah, Toki still hunting that pick. The first blood does go in favour of Corrupt Light. So try and work it up. B site Swogi take down 1 into Twiz. There's going to be another man nearby, but Isaac, he's there for the trade. Now this next kill is going to be really important here for Corrupt Light. Toki can manage to get into the site. Oh, he's got shot. He's got shot on the outer lane. So now Isaac, last man up. He's the 1 versus 2, and with 10 seconds left on the clock, I don't predict this is going to be feasible here. So Corrupt Light, although they're not getting kills, Pablo, they're getting the objective done, and they're guarding the site pretty much long enough to delay the boys of Clutch Rain from even getting near enough to getting that bomb defused. So although it's not necessarily the kind of the most stellar play you see, it's pretty textbook, and they're making it work. 3-all.
Yeah, it's not the prettiest, but it's definitely effective, and they're just keeping away from getting any kind of control of the site for the defuse. So right now, they're doing what they can the best way they can. And, you've got to look to Resto right now. He's having a monumental game. Finally, Swogi manages to pick one up. Afraidable goes on the 2. But again, this is the one game mode where kills are absolutely vital. And right now they are doing very, very well for a team that, they've got 3 players on 5 kills and we're in round 7. So definitely they need to pick things up. And you would be, as Clutch Rain, you've got to be concerned that if Broke Soak and Afraid will start to have decent rounds, this could go entirely the wrong way for them. Toki about to land one straight onto the bonnet of Resto, and that's going to be a problem now for the Corrupt Fighters. Bomb potentially down over towards that B site, and 3 of them are absolutely nowhere near it.
Oh, nice shots there from Fudzy. Able to grab 1 kill. So now it is going to be Broke and Swogi that we're used to seeing from Cold War, but now Fudzy going to grab yet another kill as the boys of Clutch Rain try and make this round pretty much impeccable. Fudzy with another kill there. Was that an ace? No, it wasn't. The glide bomb got the third bit. Sorry, the 4th. But Jesus, what a round there from Fudzy, and that is exactly what this man can do. And he's going to be a pretty much standard figure that you would expect to have moments like that in consistent games for the boys of Clutch Rain, but good moments.
Mate, you've got to laugh. What was the comms there? Fudzy's in middle. We'll all go. Just everyone. Just push in one at a time. Bizarre. So, I mean, sometimes you've got to look to the consistency and the comms and the attitude at mid-game, and that's just wild. You can't just feed individual kills to Fudzy like that. He's not going to miss for the start. He's an absolutely superb player with hella gun. He's an absolute demon, and they're just feeding that mid one at a time. Maybe expecting him to push, maybe not, but he's taking up that position. He was going nowhere, and you fed him 3 kills, and he's on a 3 streak, and he's the kind of player who potentially is going to get glide bombs. So this could be a massive problem for Corrupt White as they essentially throw a round away.
Yeah, so the streak has come through. Presto, sniper. Going to need his teammate. Oh my goodness, Swogi's going to be a busy man. There's 1. How many can he grab? There's the second potentially. No, he's only going to get shots in, so Fudzy makes him pay. And now Resto watching the outer lane, but Twiz rips his head clean off of his shoulders. And now it is just Broke 1 versus 2. Takes down Twiz, looks for the second, but the man in Fudzy, Pablo, comes through once again. 5 in a row, a bomb defused to suit for it. And Clutch Rain now only going to be 1 round away from taking this map and going 2-0 up in the series.
Yeah, man, we spoke about it earlier on. He's a player who he loves joining new teams. He loves that kind of, he seems to excel in this position of coming in and just being, he's a demon, no doubt. He was, joint kill leader in hardpoint. He's absolutely dominating this. I mean, don't get me wrong, Corrupt Light just basically fed him a glide bomb for free. And they're 5-3 up and just looking like a completely different game. And Corrupt, finally we see Broken Soki getting into the match. And I mean, Afraidable's not had the best S&D. He hasn't had to kill, in 3 or 4 rounds. It's been a really difficult S&D for him. But when you're up against a team like this, you can't feed them kills. And right now, Clutch Rain just looking solid for the money.
Yeah, Afraidable. Oh, that was bold. He got 1 and just ran straight in. So Twiz and Isaac are going to make them pay. And the glide bomb from Fudzy comes out. And now Broke. That round has gone down the pan very, very quickly. 1 versus 3 now required from Broke to keep his team in with a shout at this one. And I'm pretty sure he has been spotted. Twiz going to go on the outer lane, but Broke, nice shots, takes down 1. Doesn't get hit either, so still full health for him. But he's still got to go through Isaac and Fudzy. Fudzy's still on that 6 streak as well. Going to potentially try and get this one out. Done. Managed to work this one, Isaac, on the infamous heady that we tend to see a lot of players defend from. Broke spots him. The information is there, and now he's going to try and get on the defuse, surely. Any second now, because as soon as that time starts ticking away, he's going to look for the beams onto Isaac, but Isaac does not miss a shot. Clutch Rain do not miss a beat in that map. Pablo 6-3 in the map, and now 2-0 up and in the driving seat.
Man, that's why Isaac's on one of the best orgs in France, but trained with a solid history of having great players. Isaac's not going to miss them, and he takes his head clean off as he tries to bait the defuse. And look at that performance from Fudzy. 10 and 4, just absolutely going off, supported by a solid cast of characters and a great performance. And we pointed out, this is not a player that does badly when he first joins a team. He goes out and he plays really well. So it's going to be 2-0. I mean, it's going the way we thought it would. But, one thing we would say is the Corrupt Light have had, way more involvement than I suppose we thought they might have. We thought it might be a difficult one for them on Tuscan, and they finished within 65. And we thought this was going to be a huge blowout on Billing, and they get 3 rounds and at times looked truly competitive. Again, we would suggest that going into Gavutu Control, this is going to be a difficult map for them in terms of just trying to match that speed and gun skill. But again, we are being surprised time and time again. Gavutu Control, a weird one. I suppose it depends where they start. So if they are able to get attacking first, then it could be a completely different, set of matches. So interesting to see how they get on. They definitely need Broke Swogan and Afraid, although to pick things up.
Yeah, they definitely need to try and get a little bit more out of some of their important players, the boys of Corrupt Light, as we go in towards map number 3. And Clutch Train obviously being 2-0 up, Pabs. I mean, you feel that this is kind of inevitable at this stage, I suppose, especially going to a map where we know how good some of these structured teams can be. Obviously, we saw it previously with Iniquity, how effective they were on this map, and you kind of expect with the the experience and the ability of Clutch Train that it would not shock me at all if we potentially see a 3-0 or a 3-1 where Corrupt Light might struggle to get in. They really need kind of more from their assault rifle players. I say the likes of Broke, he's been quiet in this series by previous standards that we've seen on Cold War, but they're really going to need a lot from kind of the ARs and especially the flex as well. Obviously, we see in Gavutu a lot of teams running 3 ARs, so this is a map where you really you can lean on your flex players to be a game changer. We've had series before where they've been very, very close, and if one flex player is absolutely blasting it out the park in terms of kills, that usually tends to get a lot of teams over the line. So Corrupt Light at this stage, you're going to kind of look over towards those automaton players to say, right, okay, now this is our last chance really for this one.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think you're probably right in making the comparison between the Iniquity game. I just think sometimes there is some comparison to be made between the Black Square, what was the name of the option? Black Square Gaming, Black Square GG, was it?
Yeah, Black Square GG. Yeah.
And Corrupt Light in that. Sometimes they look a little bit lost in terms of strategy. Sometimes their approach, especially so you look at the hard point, they just obviously weren't able to hold the hill, and that isn't a lack of gun skill. They're just probably not taking up the right positions, dependent on where the opposition is spawning. So they're not watching the right entry points, and that plays a big part. And then you look in the S&D, there's moments in that game where they're super aggressive, but they all push into the same place, get traded out, get killed. And then you look at that moment where Fudzy's allowed to take 3 players who push the same doorway, but at a completely different time. So there's some moments there where a little bit of kind of like inconsistency, kind of strategic naivety comes in. And Gavutu, we saw it with Black Square. They just when they literally they didn't get any mid-map control whatsoever in the game. Potentially Corrupt Light, if they get flustered, if they start to get gunned quite badly, we might see that happen. So Clutch Train with a good opportunity to see this out, but I think Corrupt Light just really need to stay calm and try and get some mid-map control.
Yeah, already the patient plays coming through from a few of the Corrupt Light lads as they just kind of offer Clutch Train in towards that foe as Quiz is going to be soaking up the time. But Swogy able to grab a kill, so too is Isaac. But already the control over towards that middle map. Corrupt Light, they've got to be careful not to play this too passively because the progression is coming through. So that first tick over towards 8 is now going to be complete. Isaac is going to be looking to try and transition over to help his teammate on that foe point. Broke. Try and work out where he is inside the hill, but Quiz able to take down one. Resto, though, there for the trade. Is the trade going to be there likewise from Isaac? He is going to spot the man on the outer lane and just manages to smack him round the back with the butt of his gun as that progression still starts to seep through. Woodsy is still on the hill. Isaac grabs another kill as well onto Swogy, so he's already starting to demonstrate that he can be an absolute pain on this map. But the boys are Corrupt Light at the moment, Pabs. Obviously, they're still defending from that B point, and that's kind of the mistake that we saw previously in that last series with Black Square GG. They offered out the B point really without much defensive prowess, I suppose you would say. But the boys of Corrupt Light playing it slightly differently, but they're still trailing by 4 lives, and they do have quite a lot of work to do if they're going to hold off the endless waves of Clutch Train players.
Yeah, I think they probably opted for the just hand over A with a minimal fight, and then just try and defend, be as stoutly as possible. It's a difficult one to take, but again, you've just got to consider the Clutch Trainer, a sensible set of guys. They look to get picks and get control of different areas, but there's been a nice defense so far. Afraidable and Resto, teaming up to get 3, and that's going to push the team in blue completely back out. And look at this complete control. You've got player over at number 7. If he gets a couple of kills now, it's going to go big and potentially really start to get these guys in the trap, and this is a big big moment for Clutch Rain in this first game as they look to try and get beach control. You can already see the players transitioning, and this is where it could be problematic for the team in red. But right now, Major, one thing we've seen in this game that we haven't seen in the previous 2 games is good gunny from the boys in Corrupt Light, who are just, absolutely slaying out at the minute.
Yeah, and I definitely think kind of this slower pace game definitely seems to be benefiting the boys of Corrupt Light just a little bit better. And quick shout out there to Pluto for the follow. Thank you very much, buddy. And now Clutch Rain, where are they going to try and push here? Because they've now managed to drop 2. And number 8, Swogi, is still going to be commanding over towards middle map. He's going to get taken down as well. And this is a little bit of a green light to get on towards the point, but Broke looking to try and lock down his relative lanes. But you can see where the position of Isaac is. He's just keeping an eye over his teammate. Surely Fudzy going to potentially crawl on towards that point any second now, but there is a quick hit coming through from Afraidable. But we've seen glimpses of Afraidable. Obviously, we've not cast him before, Pablo. He's a very aggressive player, and you just feel at times if it's a bit more controlled, he could definitely punch out some of these lanes. He did it in the hard point in small stages, and he got the important kills. But at the moment, he is having phases where he's just kind of throwing himself, not aimlessly, but not necessarily as carefully as he could do, and he keeps getting caught out for that. And in control, when you've only got 30 lives, you do have to be careful about it, but they're doing a good job, and they've only got 5 seconds until this round's done.
Yeah, and if you're going to talk about the strategy, they've done really, really well so far. They do need to get a few more picks, but they played that really well. They essentially gave kind of light-hearted fight towards A, and then just defend stoutly towards B, which is an absolute nightmare to take, and particularly if you've got players like Resto playing like this, beaming kids from distance. It just makes it hard to get onto, and, you've got to say hats off. That's probably made you the most composed and the most strategic that we've seen the team in red play all day.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this Gavutu has kind of given them a bit more of a breathing space. I mean, we've talked about it a few times where a lot of the teams are still going to be relatively new to control, and the amount of reps that we put in, we don't necessarily have the ability to see roughly how many they're putting on. And Clutch Rain at the moment, with the addition of Fudzy, slightly different factor on that one, but Corrupt Light looking decent on the control, at least in the early stages here. But Fudzy, nice work, good reads, able to take him down. Afraidable manages to get a kill as well. So now Isaac going to have to try and watch the cross here, because Afraidable is going to get on towards the hill, but just a bullet is going to be needed just to take him down. The nade, it looks as though Isaac's cooking him up something special straight over the top. Is it going to manage to grab the kill? No, Afraidable still alive inside the hill, so he's going to be a real pain. It looks as though Isaac going to be forced to slide over, and these next gunfights are actually going to be really, really big here, and they take down 3 players. And I tell you what, Pablo, that is a stellar performance over towards the A point. And now you ask the question, do Clutch Rain go back in for this, or do they just give it up?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, are you going to look at it, a team like Clutch Rain? You would hope that they would go back and just try and, because it is only 2 ticks, they can drain that back to 1 tick and still make B as difficult as possible. They've got players committed over to the A, so if they can deal with that, this can become a problem for Corrupt Light very quickly, and especially if they can get control of this B side. But right now, Corrupt Light just look like a different team entirely. The kill feed's almost permanently red, and we're just seeing, them getting ticks over at both places now, and this has become a bit of a shit show for the boys in Clutch Rain, who have absolutely just gone off the boil in this control.
Yeah, and they almost got both points there. The A point is now done, and the B point was so incredibly close. But man, Clutch Rain, that one came right down to the wire, so they are going to at least be able to defend from the more preferred B point. Now, how will they opt to get set up here to stop the waves of Corrupt Light players? They need to get at least 2 sets of 4 down here to be back in with a shout in terms of life count. And they managed to make the time count instead. Nice shots from Twiz. Takes down 1. There is still a man in Afraidable just lurking up above him, and Isaac's actually able to take him down. So already 1 minute 30 is now remaining on the clock. And Corrupt Light, they do have a fair few pushes at this, but they are going to have to try and speed it up just a little bit. They're just regrouping, playing it patiently. But I'll tell you what, the way the boys in blue are playing at the moment, Pabs, they are not giving them an inch, and they've got to be careful, because Twiz might be able to catch a few of them if he hits this flank quick enough.
Yeah, I think the Corrupt Light might just be lucky here. It depends how number 6, it is going to be Resto, plays this, but right now number 4 in Twiz is given some kind of free roam. He's going to get a pick, but potentially might be the last one, as a player's probably going to spawn and just go on the hunt for him. But Swogi does well, and this could be a big moment. They're going to get potentially 1 or 2 stabs at this, and it's huge right now. And you look at the kill difference as well, Major. It was 8, it's now 6, and it's now 7. So big plays right there, and Twizzers need to go huge, because there is only 1 tick needed. So this is going to be a big moment right here. Able to get the kill. Broke's going to get that, and this is going to be 2 Ds. No, so close, halfway through that tick, and that is a big defense from the team in blue. But look who's at the back, Swogi, 10 and 7 right now, and 40 seconds. You would suggest he was able to get a couple of kills. Broke going to take that player out of the map, and that's going to still, they drained it back to 2 ticks, Major, so still plenty of time, 30 seconds, and look how close Afraidable is.
Afraidable was going for some god time in there, but Isaac wins a really important gunfight, so they're going to still have to try and shift him out. Swogi going around the back, the comms come through as Broke takes Footsy down. And now with 20 seconds remaining, although Clutch Rain, they've only got 7 lives, they just need to hold pretty much one more wave of pushes here. Can they manage to do it in a round that was looking oh so bleak for them? Footsy, another big win, manages to grab another kill. And now Afraidable with 7 seconds left. It looks as though he's going to have to be the man to hit the flank quick and get on the point, because those blue arrows of Clutch Rain, they are all looking towards the front of house here as they look to try and chop a couple of players down. But now it's getting messy on the hill. Can Afraidable make the play? He's got teammates on with the contest, but Afraidable takes down one. There's still going to be Isaac for the second, grabs the second, but they're not going to be able to do enough. And Clutch Rain, they are going to do just about what is needed to grab that round, Pablo, in one that was looking incredibly bleak, and they tie it back up.
Man, I mean, you were looking at a Corrupt Light to potentially go 2-0 up and completely throw the cat among the pigeons in a series that Clutch Rain was dominating so heavily. And you just see the team from France just go through the gears and just able, I mean, by the skin of their teeth, handful of seconds, able to get the defense in. You would expect bigger things, but look, Footsy on the 9 and 10. He is on a 3 streak now, so potentially you might see him play a little more passively, get the picks in order to get some control of this this B zone. And already you can see that stack over. They'll have that information. One player has dropped, so you should expect to see a kind of fight go down, but that's big plays as the kill feed, Major, goes Clutch Rain's way, and that is a worry for the team in red.
Yeah, we're saying that Resto and Swogi actually managed to catch a couple of players out on the cross. Footsy, however, is now on a 5 streak, and this is where they've got to be careful, Corrupt Light, not to give them too much ability in terms of streaks to maybe work some magic on a hill that is normally very, very difficult to break. Swogi holding the angle, all this timing, but luckily Isaac doesn't check that corner on that occasion, so it is just going to be Afraidable over towards this A site as Clutch Rain look to try and get in position to hold a lot of time on it and try and get those ticks through, as they will now get on it. Footsy is the lone man, just soaking up the time for the time being. Slides out onto Resto, and there's a bold chow. Footsy really feeling himself at the moment, flies round, makes no mistake about it. And although this A point is coming through, Pabs, it always feels inevitable now on Gavutu. Even if you get the A point done, you've still got to go through the other brick wall of defensive players over towards that B point. So if Clutch Rain can at least whittle down some lives on this point, it definitely feels as though it will swing potentially in their favour just a little bit more.
Yeah, you talk about whittling down lives, but they haven't really been in a position in Gavutu at all where they've been dominant in terms of kills. And you've got to look to Corrupt Light, who had at one point in the previous round an 8-kill lead, and right now they're just not able to dominate as effectively as I guess they would like to, given that there's skill disparity or they gain knowledge. And right now Corrupt Light going toe to toe with them and making it very difficult. Again, double for Broke as he goes absolutely off with the stun and handgun, and he's still kind of like being an absolute pain as he drops to his. Finally, Isaac able to do the damage. They're going to get that tick, but mate, it took them till 25 seconds, and now they've only got 1 minute and 22 to get a hill that you would suggest is going to take them 2 minutes.
Yeah, Resto with a big couple of kills. Isaac is going to be there to at least take him out of that boat position. But now Glide Bomb coming through. We're just going to look to try and land it on Afraidable. He's not going to kill though, so one of the streaks now gone, and Isaac's going to get taken down as well. So already, Boys of Corrupt Light putting up another good fight here on the defensive side as Broke able to grab another kill onto Twiz. Now 3 in a row for him. He's now only 2 away from a Glide Bomb, and we're going to see yet another one. Footsy's going to use his one as well. He's going to go for the man in Resto in the back as he gets taken down. So the streaks really starting to pay off now for Clutch Rain, but 40 seconds on the clock. They need to get over towards the hill, and it's just Glide Bomb tennis at the moment as Swogi is now going to throw everything at it as well. So he takes down Footsy, and it looks as though Clutch Rain going toe for toe in streaks and kills, at least for the time being. But now can Afraidable take this man over towards the point. Twiz, no, doesn't miss a bullet, but his teammate in Resto actually shoots through him and grabs the kill. And with 25 seconds left, it looks as though Isaac and the boys, they are going to have to try and make a play, and they're going to have to make it quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And number 8 there, Swogi, just going to be there to watch the cross. So waiting for anyone to push to try and get that pinch around the back. It is going to be a 3-man stack towards Beach. and they're going to need, the beach blitz is over. They've exhausted all of them, and they're trying to get this control, and it's going to be down to number 5 right now. Broke has got a big job to do. And with 3.3 seconds, you would suggest this is the last possible chance for Clutch Rain to take this round. Fudzy again goes big, so they're going to be able to get one more body on the hill, and this is going to be a big moment right now. You would suggest the team in red with a lot of work to do, and it looks like they're just about to do it. Yeah, I would suggest for Judgy going to come off, and that's going to be game round for Corrupt Light, and they're going to go 2-1 up, Major. And again, we're being made to eat our words as Gavutu Control throws up another absolute madness for us to cast over.
Yeah, these guys keep going back and forth at the moment with some of these rounds. You feel as though Boys of Clutch Rain on that occasion, they had a couple of openings where they might have been able to make something work on the point, but fair play to Corrupt Light. We saw the streaks come through for Clutch Rain, 2 glide bombs invested in that one, and then we saw Corrupt Light throw one straight back at them. So the good use of streaks to counter that round for Corrupt Light, and now 1 round away from taking this map number 3 and stopping the Boys of Clutch Rain from seeing this out in a potential 3-0 fashion. It looks as though number 4 in Twiz is going to be a very busy boy any second now, because there's a few players ready and waiting. Boss broke up top. Nice shot so to take him down, but Swogi replies with a couple of beams himself. Fudzy is still watching this lane, and he makes no mistake about that one, and he's having a real big impact on this map, Pablo, for his team, but they need a little bit more. It feels as though there's just fine margins separating these two at the moment, and if Clutch Rain can maybe get a hold of some of them and swing some of them in their favour, then they'll be in with a much better chance of taking this map potentially, but they're still going to need 2 more rounds.
Yeah, you've got to look to Corrupt Light. They're no one really having a terrible game, obviously, if you're going to look at kills and deaths. Afraidable 18 and 26. 18 is still a reasonable contribution. His interactions are still potentially vital, depending on the traded kills. But you look on the other side, and who's having an absolute mare? Toki and Twiz right now, absolutely, in the struggle bus potentially. Obviously, Twiz very similar to Afraidable, but Toki, really low in terms of kills. And you would suggest that if they were able to get into the game a bit more, Clutch Rain might dominate a bit heavier. But Corrupt Light doing a great job so far, but Clutch Rain on the defense now just appear to be doing just enough. In 25 seconds, this is a moment right now. Corrupt Light don't want to go to 2-all. I think they really do need to take this round now. I think if they want to stay in this game, this is a big moment for the team in red. And Swizz over the top and gets that kill, and this could be a problem as they're going to drain it back. And Corrupt Light left in this really awkward position. 18 lives plays 18, but Major, there is no time left on the clock realistically.
Yeah, that was a really big kill coming through because they are going to take him out of that boat though. But you can see now with Fudzy just watching the crossbow. Swogi probably just spotting his earlobe on that one. He is going to get a couple of shots in, but not going to grab the kill. Fudzy is going to progress round, and nice shots there into Resto. Doesn't miss a bullet, but Broke up top is going to reply with 2 kills. There's still another man, but they're not going to even be able to touch the point. And a round that potentially they had, again, it just seems like they have moments, Corrupt Light, to try and clutch up on these attacking rounds. But some moments just on a knife edge, really. We saw Twiz get in that boat, get the kill, and try and keep his head down just long enough to delay it. But there's nothing separating these guys at the moment, Pabs. And if you're the defensive side, you're looking at this as Corrupt Light and going, right, okay, we can get this one done now.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely advantage to them in terms of how well they've done so far. But again, you just got to look to the last portion of that round. They were so passive with only 20 seconds remaining on the clock, and they're feeding Fudzy kills again. Not trading out effectively. They're super passive at a time when they probably need to get super aggressive. I know they're looking for that one pick that's going to allow them to push through. But right now, all they're doing is letting people train, get fired up, get their guns accurate, and get fighting. And again, we talked about that player. Always plays, so well at the start of new teams in Fudzy, and he's having another monumental game as he warms goes through the gears essentially in this map. And they're gonna, I'm sorry, as I choke to death on the other way. It's like 25 lives to 27. No Corrupt Light still doing the business. They really do need to just get the kills now. So advantage Corrupt Light in the sense that they're on the defense, but I just feel like Clutch Rain are going to start cutting through them, and Fudzy's looking confident now.
Yeah, number 6 though, in Resto. Gonna try and you're right there, Pabs. So you're dying in the corner. Quick shout out to the Rush God and Dizzy for the follows. Thank you very much, guys. But the boys of Clutch Rain still waiting to get some progression over towards this A point as Isaac slowly peeks his way up with the pistol, but his teammate does help him out on that occasion. AFO going to get spotted, and Isaac makes no mistake about that one. They've still got the issue of Broke pushing up here. They will finally take him down, so now that progression over towards the A point is slowly going to start coming through, and now it's a question for Corrupt Light of do they commit bodies and potentially lives over towards trying to break this hill. Number 6 in Resto is still lurking outside, and Flips as well with the follow. Thank you very much, guys, for all the new followers. And nice work again, Resto. There's one pick. Looking for more, though. A couple more players nearby in 28 seconds. But they do at least have Toki on the point. But I'll tell you what, Pabs, this is going to be a little bit difficult now for Clutch Rain to try and work their way out. If Toki doesn't stay alive here, he is going to be an incredibly decisive factor into whether they can take this round. And he takes down one. He's still got another man to go through, though. Oh, I thought potentially he might do that. But with 25 seconds left on the clock, Clutch Rain, they have got to go, and they've got to go quick. And with the streaks coming through, this is not going to be easy.
No, not at all. Broke potentially going to get tagged up. They take the TK, and that's going to leave 17 seconds, and no one realistically near a hill in order to get on. So this has been a great performance from Corrupt Light, despite the TKs and despite some, shaky moments. Isaac potentially going to get onto the hill, but with only 5 seconds, he's going to have to go huge right now. If there is one player you want to rely on, though, he's been absolutely awesome throughout the game. He's 30 and 26 right now, only ever so slightly behind Fudzy. And right, that is going to be super important. And A secured, that's going to leave them a minute. But 6 lives plays 15 major. It's been a dominant performance from Corrupt Light. So 4 players who need to go big, and potentially when you've got Broke shooting like that, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, and kind of I flagged it up before. Quick shout out as well to Mr. Hunter for the follow. Thank you very much, buddy. But yeah, I mentioned it before. If you can get Broke on a map where he can be a bit more stiff and a bit more controlled, he's a much more difficult player to shift. And we're seeing it now as he's having an absolute belter of a control. 34 and 25 coming through from the man that we know can really perform with the assault rifle in his hands. Resto going to take down one, but now it's all down to the last remaining 3 players of Clutch Rain here, and it's looking a bit bleak as Bro gets yet another kill, his 35th of the series. But there's one for Twiz, there's 2 for Twiz, and now is this the opportunity that they need? It's going to be so difficult. Oh, but Fudzy, he's watching the lanes. If he can get another potential couple of kills, this might fall apart. Fudzy's able to take down one, but now Twiz, he's got so much work to do. He's got so many players pushing in on him. Shots into Broke. It looks as though they're just going to try and flood him out here. Flies out the back. He's not going to be able to do it. And Corrupt Light, they make a series of it, Pablo. It was a bit messy at stages, but they do just enough to get it over the line.
Man, this is what we wanted to see sometimes last year. These guys up against, top tier players, and they've just proven, we're giving them enough time and giving them enough rope, and they will come and hang you, because right now they have put the boys from Clutch Rain into the blender. You would almost say, look at that performance from Broke. 37 kills, 28 non-traded kills, and again, you don't expect that from a top AM side. You expect, those non-traded kills to be quite low, but what a performance from Gavutu. And, at times it looked like Clutch Rain were going to come back into the game, and they just couldn't hang with the kill, couldn't hang with the pace of the game, which is surprising when you look at the other 2 games. But maybe Gavutu control just something they haven't scrimmed effectively, or obviously they have got Fudzy in, and as a cohesive unit, you do need to be able to take that B, and maybe just the fact that they've got that new player in just posing some problems and some difficulties. But Fudzy was dropping bombs. I mean, you've got to look to Toki in that game. He didn't really have a monumental performance in any way, and potentially dragging that team down. But so far 2-1, and we are back to bail-in major, and this game is suddenly lit up from a potential 3-0. We are at 2-1, man.
And Munro as well, and Dredgy as well with the follows. Thank you very much, guys, for all the recent support and new people joining the channel. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the series as much as we are, because now we've got a series, Pablo. We're not going to have 2 3-0s, but we're going into a Berlin hardpoint, obviously with Control being a map that not a huge amount of teams have had a big amount of time to kind of refine and try and trim down. The boys of Corrupt Light, fair enough, they did what they needed to. They pinched the map, which might have been the only question mark really for this Clutch Rain roster, but now they've really got to try and look to push on now into the next couple of maps if they are going to cause a potential upset here, and obviously that reverse sweep as well. But it is doable. We've seen it from that map now, and obviously we're going into another map where it's very AR heavy, is Berlin at times, but there's still kind of the opportunities for the SMG players, especially in some of those hills, to make a big impact. So you're looking to the likes of Afraidable, especially to really make a dent on the series, potentially in this map 4, if they're going to stay alive.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of opportunity for Corrupt Light. They played really well. Their AR's going off. Obviously, one thing you would suggest in terms of a difference between this and the Tuscan is the geography is obviously a lot larger, and there are a couple more levels to your strategy in terms of when you choose to rotate, how many you kind of commit to next, and how confident you are in your players to fight for the scrap time. And that's going to be a huge, huge moment, a kind of opportunity for Corrupt Light potentially to lay down some lanes, get some control, and you would hope, potentially bring this back. But I don't know. Clutch Rain just looked so solid. You talked about it in the first map. You talked about how the strategy almost got them through that Tuscan.
Yeah.
So they weren't particularly going off in terms of slaying. Now you've got to look at the cut train and now kind of firing on all cylinders. Everyone seems to be shooting straight, with the exception of Toki, but he did have a good S&D, not so much a great control. But I mean, you've got to look to them potentially, if their strategies are that on point in Tuscan, potentially going to be really good. And the other thing you've got to consider, they're probably getting, you know, really good level scrims. They've got a decent amount of experience, so this could be, you know, this could go either way in that sense. But again, I think you've got to look to this being a good favourite for Quick Train.
Yeah, so we are loading in towards our map number 4, so it's not going to be another clean sweep. We are going to see a map number 4 as we get in towards the Berlin hardpoint. We're looking now to see whether or not Corrupt Light can manage to pinch another map here, so we'll see whether or not they can cause, is considered an upset, I suppose, by all standards of things, with the ability that Clutch Rain have got and how little we've kind of seen of Corrupt Light, but see what they can work here on the Berlin. And this is one, Pablo, where you're looking, especially for Corrupt Light, they need to be structured and they need to rotate efficiently. Obviously, a lot of these top tier teams, it's very, very rarely that they don't rotate to a hill, and it's going to be something where Corrupt Light, they're going to have to almost combine big numbers with big brain plays as well when they come up against these boys.
Well, if you're going to talk big numbers and big brain plays, you just got to look to the 4 zeros of Clutch Rain right now. I mean, Swogi was that hungry for kills. He nearly team killed the player who was right, who made the same journey as him. Finally, we see Clutch Rain get off the board, but that was a knife through butter performance on P1. You know, we usually see the team that spawn out closer just get a dirty amount of time, and that's accepted. You know, you do try and push them off the hill, but really it's all about P2, but not for Corrupt Light. No, they're going to break through and they're going to get 32 seconds off P1 after starting from potentially the more difficult position. And Swogi with a big moment, and broken Swogi right now, 4-1 and 4-1. Look like a completely different proposition. Swogi looking like his old self, and this has been a hell of a performance so far. 5-1 on a 2 streak, and they've just dominated these first two kills. So big moment for Clutch Rain. They're going to need to get back involved fairly quickly, because they've got 3 players now, 2 players who would only own 1 kill each.
Yeah, and Isaac looking to try and steady the ship a little bit there, as he just going to opt for pistol rather than reload. But Broke takes down 1. Twiz there for the trade, so much better than the boys in blue, as Clutch Rain look to try and get some more potential kills. Twiz looking to try and finesse Resto, and he manages to get that kill on that particular occasion. Swogi is still lurking outside at the moment. He's been a real pain, but Twiz shuts him down on that occasion. So 3 in a row now for Twiz. But now that all-important rotation. Corrupt Light, they did have a few players out the back, and Toki is going to punish them by pushing through a little bit too far. And this is the difficulty with Berlin that we tend to see so many teams overlook, is kind of going for the remaining few seconds of the hill time. Some of these bigger teams, they will punish you, and that's exactly what Clutch Rain have done now. Twiz currently working towards streaks as well. He's going to get some shots into one. Isn't going to quite manage to get the kill. And now looking for the 5th onto Afraidable. Oh no, he stopped shot. Oh my god, okay. He was freestyling on him, it appears. He put 2 bullets in 360, and I'm pretty sure he got the 5th kill in emphatic style.
And not just style, I mean, he was dancing as he took the kill. So fortunate time there for Swogi, but again, you know, you just look at the dominance in this hill from Clutch Rain, who've now taken the lead. And we talk about the correct commitment to new, and in terms of fighting for scrap from old, and you can see Corrupt Light just so much commitment towards that re-break of P2 that they just completely almost forgot to try and move over to get the spawns for P3. And we saw that one player, Toki, try and get over, but Clutch Rain committing correctly. They had 2 players already over towards that point, and they're able to get just an absolutely disgusting amount of time towards that kill. Obviously, this has flipped completely on its head now, as Corrupt Light are obviously set up now, because they weren't able to get any time towards that. But again, you just got to look potentially now to Clutch Rain if they're able to do a good job and get the kills here. Really good work by Toki to play his life. He does get taken down, but Glide coming in from Squiz, and this could be a big moment. He doesn't get the kills as his teammate and Isaac just cleans up, but they're able to break that at 33 seconds, and it's a great bit of play from Clutch Rain with a slight advantage, 20 seconds or so.
Yeah, and a quick thank you to Splash and to One Night as well with the follows. Thank you very much, guys. No, Clutch Rain 2-1 up in the series, and they're looking to try and get a decent lead here, coming from subsequent P4, and we'll see if they can manage to get some more time here. Swogi nade out, going to get shot by Twiz once again. He's having a good couple of individual moments here, Twiz, and some big ones at that, as his teammate in Isaac is going to look to try and soak up that remaining 5 seconds, but over towards the bomb site. Fudzy is going to be there, but he's going to run straight past Resto, never mind. So they're literally going to just kind of touch cheeks and exchange pleasantries and literally stand right next to each other. So
Yeah,
neither of them
dancing on the
are going to get the kill. And there you go.
tabletop.
Fudzy is finally going to spot him after they were literally just chilling next to each other for what felt like an absolute eternity. But while Fudzy is causing absolute havoc over this side of the map, Pablo, it's a hill that we know teams struggle to get time on. But Fudzy at the moment is kind of becoming a bit of a one-man army, and he's bought his teammates a bit of a window just to get on the time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Fudzy wraps up the meeting at Docks and takes out Resto, and then he's able to get even more kills, and that's going to give the boys from Clutch Train the opportunity to get some well-deserved time over towards that completely insane middle hill. Big moment for number 3, though, Resto, to get himself back into the game as he snuck over. He is going to get taken out in fire. Probably better to kind of like try and get that position inside fire and looking into it as opposed to potentially looking over it. But he does get taken down. Smokey does try and come back with kills on Isaac, and we see this go back and forth. This is essentially a battle for that P1 as we head into the second rotation. But right now, Clutch Train looking solid. It's an ominous 30-second lead, but plenty of time. And more importantly, you know, the guys from Corrupt Light going toe-to-toe, playing really well. They've got good time across the board, so playing very flexibly as well. So no one person being dedicated to that hill. Just get on it, get the points, get the kills. So good play so far. Resto's going to get tagged up, a little impatient there, Major, as he pushes onto the hill. But their bite is right back from Swogie.
Yeah, Swogie now 5 in a row, looking for 6. There it is. Shots in towards more as he cuts down repetitive players of Clutch Train at the moment. Toki is going to be there to take him down, but his teammate in Resto likewise does the same. So now good opportunity here for Corrupt Light to really start to even this series and this map here. If they can work some more magic. Bro going to get taken down. Isaac not going to give him any more scrap time. There is still another man in number 3, Resto, in the back. So they're still battling for almost every single second. Twiz is still lurking over towards this existing hill, but he is going to just back up and help out his teammate over towards P2. And he flies straight through the destructible cover there. Manages to grab a pick onto a Freightable. So it will be Clutch Train with the early control inside the hill. But Twiz is actually, he's killing everything in sight. He nades his own teammate. He takes down Swogie as well. But the trades come through. And potentially a misplay there that has allowed Corrupt Light to get in towards this P2 and start to even up the game.
Yeah, they played really wide. They went out almost towards Docks and then, you know, got themselves into a number of unnecessary fights where they could probably be peaked and played a little more passively and kept that hill control. They are going to try and break back in because there's a solid amount of time still to be made on this P2, but again, it's going to require them to push through. And right now, Corrupt Light have done a really good job. Swogie on a 20 and 14. They've got 25 seconds, and the Freightable is going to break in, but it's been a good solid defense from Clutch Train. And, you know, the point where they dominated the early portion of this hill, they're able to break back through, and that's going to allow them to stretch their lead out to about 25 seconds. But this is going to be require them to do another big break, and you can see they're just going to wait. Huge plays. Number 3 there, Resto, is going to be kind of back Docks and locking down that lane and just stopping them from potentially pushing down that left-hand side. So it's going to be a push through fire and a pinch from the left-hand side. This has been a solid hold so far, and you would suggest that they're going to be able to get a good chunk of time on this hill.
Yeah, big gunfights unfolding over towards fire, but it is going to be number 2 in Swogie that is able to help his teammate make the trades here. So the kill feed lights up red. Corrupt Light making a really good job at this one. Obviously, they've got the rotation on the hill, and Swogie is going on a bit of a madness at the moment at 24 and 16, just roaming around for the time being. He's got only 25 seconds on the hill, but he's doing his job in just disrupting all those arrows on the boys of Clutch Rain from getting over towards the hill. There's another potential kill there. There's one onto Toki. There's still some more players as he comes through for the pinch. Isaac's going to punch his way in towards the hill, but Swogie again is there for the kills, and now he's managing to loop streak. So another glide bomb ready to be used as and when he decides to use it, and he's going on an absolute madness at the moment. He's just throwing himself at every single Clutch Rain player, and he does not seem to be missing at the moment.
Swogie owes it shotsy because right now he is dancing around the pillars, killing kids. He's on a massive streak. This is something we haven't seen, you know, too much from. The old Swogie was, you know, a very capable player and used to have some great games, but right now he is absolutely going off. Toki having to, you know, to go through the gears realistically in order to fire his team up. Right now we were nearly 20 seconds behind, and we're gonna, you know, both teams set up this warehouse hill, but you would suggest the team in Corrupt Light are in the better position, especially if they can get some picks. Is Broke going to respond at all to the fact that he's being shot at by Toki? I'm not even sure he needs to. Finally gets tagged up, and it's just been, you know, an absolutely wild affair so far. We do see the kill feed start to go the way of Clutch Rain as the team do tie things up 176 to 174 with a slight advantage. And that was a really good play by Clutch Rain, Major, just to kind of hold off and cut through that solid defense, you would suggest, of Corrupt Light.
Yeah, and There's still not much separating these guys. This map is really starting to come down to the wire now as we see Isaac. He wanted broke off of that scrap time, so he's able to take down one. He spots Resto as well, and good work by Isaac. Once again, Mr. Reliable on the side of Clutch Rain. Once again, gets some all-important kills, and there is going to be Twiz just keeping his head down on a hill that is really not easy to do so. He's going to slap Broke on the head with a nade. He's not going to get the kill, though. And he's not going to damage him with the explosion, but now he's looking to try and make a pinch onto Afraidable, and he gets a kill there, Twiz. Really good work once again as he gets back on towards the hill, and they're just kind of rotating in and around the hill at the moment. Number 3, Resto, going to try and get a kill, but Twiz is still dancing in and around the hill, but Resto is able to take him down as Toki takes one down as well for Clutch Rain, but it's getting messy on towards the hill. Afraidable, is he going to try and at least take the man off of this scrap time, because this is really important time, and they've got a really big gunfight going down in the back. If Isaac can win this one and potentially secure his team spawns for the next hill, Pablo, this will really be important, and he takes Swogi down. So now an opportunity to try and pinch these players out of this P1.
Yeah, he's got to play his life. He's got players who are looking to kind of like stop him from being able to push through. But it's been a good play so far. Number 5 needs to get that kill. There's another big fight about to go down. Finally is able to get Toki to get the kill. But number 1 still in there and Broke. Getting that hill time. Swogi's going to support him very, very soon. And the offense is going to go out. So what a defense right there from Corrupt Light. Do follow. They're going to need to push back into the hill, but again, very passive play from Clutch Rain. We're going to need to time this. They are waiting to get set up. There's a particular strategy, and they boost onto the hill and are able to get those kills, and it's going to be something of a war of attrition as we see Afraidable and Swogi team up again to get those picks, and the contest is in one more time. And Corrupt Light Major doing a great job, and there isn't time to win it on this hill, but they have played so well, and this is going to come down to this P2 and this third rotation of what has been an absolutely fascinating matchup so far.
Yeah, and Swogi won a really important gunfight over towards the scrap time, and that 8 seconds, although it doesn't seem like much at the moment, is a huge bit of time in the grander scheme of things, but now he gets messy in towards the P2. You can still see number 7 in Twiz, and Fuzzy's still going to be here, but Twiz is going to fall. Fuzzy's still nearby, but at the moment, those red arrows are starting to cut down players left, right, and centre. With 15 seconds left, I'll tell you what, Corrupt Light, they are going the right way around this one as they manage to get a kill. Broke going to get tapped in the back by his own teammate on that occasion, and Isaac makes them pay. He takes down 2, but Resto manages to get the trade, but oh, Clutch Rain, they breathe a sigh of relief as Twiz able to get that all-important kill. But now, they can't win off of this hill, but they can get damn close to it, Clutch Rain, and it looks as though the boys of Corrupt Light, they are slowly edging their way forwards, kind of like sharks. In towards the hill they go, 8 seconds remaining, but Isaac still holds strong. But can the pinch come through? Swogi going to reveal his position with a couple of shots there. Twiz still keeping his head down, but the contest has to come through. Swogi's in the hill, but there's one for Twiz. Can he grab the second though? Resto cuts him down, but Fudzy, Jesus, he's still alive. He breathes a sigh of relief, but now look at the rotation. Corrupt Light are here. Clutch Rain, they have to go absolutely massive. Isaac going to invest the glide bomb. Here comes the final play here. Can they manage to make it work? They're all in the back. Isaac gets a kill. He gets one man out. Swogi's still alive, and those blue arrows, they're hitting the back. Can they pinch him? Swogi's got to go huge. There's still players here. He takes down 1, he takes down 2, and those red arrows are going to get it done, Pablo. Oh my God, Corrupt Light. We are going to a game 5. What a performance there from Corrupt Light.
Oh my days, my mind is blown. Swogi goes absolutely huge in that game. He goes absolutely massive. He's like an unstoppable machine. His movement, he's allowed that free Roman roll, and he absolutely decimates that team. 38 and 23 with 50 seconds kill time, 31 non-traded kills. Are you messing me? How can you be? You cannot be a top AM side and allow 31 non-traded kills by one player. That is insane statistics right there. Swogi absolutely going off, backed up by a solid performance from his team. And you know, Clutch Rain weren't ever really out of it, but they just couldn't cope with Swogi's play at all. And at times, some big kills, Resto very hit and miss, but sometimes just, locking down lanes and just playing it really, really well. Man, we have seen 2 back-to-back performances from Corrupt Light. And again, Major, we are going to be, back in the kitchen with our bowl of words, just getting the milk ready, because we've been saying from the start this potentially could be a 3-0 or a 3-1. Well, let's dig up our flags, because we'll be taking them home with our tail between our legs, because we are hitting a game 5 S&D.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'm not complaining. We've had a hell of a series here. Obviously, the first series we had this evening, a bit of a blowout, but now we have hit the brink now as Mr. Specs with the prime sub. Thank you very much, Specs. Thank you very much, Specs. So we are now waiting on the guys to pick their respective sides and go into game 5. But at the moment, Pabs, I mean, when you've seen the maps that we've had, I mean, it's anyone's game now at this point, surely, with Corrupt Light and the momentum that they've managed to gather from maps 3 and 4. I mean, obviously, they took the previous one in that search and destroy the boys of Clutch Rain, but at the moment, I'll tell you what, your money's good on anyone, really, at the way this one's been going.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't want to call it because I just think it's unfair to Corrupt Light. I don't want to say it's going to be Clutch Rain because although they did kind of dominate the S&D, at times Corrupt Light looked quite comfortable. And a Tuscan S&D is a completely different affair to a Berlin S&D. Obviously, you've got, you know, so much more kind of like open space. You've got a lot of different places that you can get information. If you've got players who are superb with a sniper, as we saw in Toki, you know, it can be problematic. This kind of limits that. I mean, you tend to see sniper plays over towards the left-hand side, the kind of P1 area of Tuscan. So you tend to only get one or two picks, maybe one pick in a game. The rest of it's going to come down to good articulation, good play, good strategy. And right now, you know, great gun skill. And in terms of that, they did it equal across the board. And if anything, Swogi is absolutely on fire right now. So I mean, I'm not even going to... I feel that bad that I don't want to put you under the pressure of calling it because I couldn't tell you which way it's going to go. I mean, the bookies would probably say, you know, the team with the higher kind of quality experience is going to be the Clutch Rain guys. But let's be perfectly honest, you know, right now they've been made to look, you know, almost kind of like foolish in the last 2 games.
Oh, now, Clutch Rain 2-0 up, find themselves in a game 5. So we'll see what they can work here in this one. And Mr. Jaws, thank you very much for the 2 gold biddies. 50 bits with a thumbs up. And the Swogi, what a map he had in that map number 4. And we'll see if he can manage to do the exact same here. And wow, there's some aggression. Twiz going to make Afraidable pay on that occasion. And Twiz, 2 kills right off the start. Is going to open up that round. Footsy looking for 1 as well onto Swogi. And whoa, have they poked the bear here, Pabs? Because all of a sudden, Broke is now going to be left in a 1 versus 4. But he does at least make it a 1 versus 3 for now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we've talked about how difficult it is to get clutches in Vanguard. The time to kill is insane. He is going to get finally dropped. I think it was Fudzy who takes him down. But, yeah, huge aggressive plays. I do think the guys from Corrupt Light taking kind of very, you know, unoriginal positioning as they kind of take those hidden corners of view. And it's going to cost them big. I think you're going to need to be a little bit more inventive or a little bit more cautious with your play, especially when you're defending. If you're on that defensive side, I don't think you can push up a kind of like as aggressive as they did, and it's a learning curve. And this Tuscan S&D, you know, the guys from Clutch Rain are going to be very, very used to playing this. So right now, 1-0 down, it's not over by a long shot. And we know Corrupt Light have got that kind of they've proven right now they've got that discipline and consistency to bring it back. Toki going to miss those shots, and again, this is about making that own effective first blood. I'll take it back with the grenade.
Yeah, this field side can be an absolute landmine of nades, and Isaac going to look to try and make the man on the bomb a little bit more as Fudzy takes down Afraidable. So now 2 versus 2. They know one man is in middle map. Is Swogi going to check his right-hand side? He is, and he manages to take Fudzy down. So off the mark now in the search and destroy after that really, really good hard point on Berlin. Is now going to leave Isaac left up in the 1 versus 2. Broke is now sticking the bomb, so he might have an opportunity. Maybe cause a bit of an upset here if he can catch Broke out in transition. The shot's coming through. Broke knows where he is. But you can see number 8, Swogi. He's going on the flank. He's trying to hit it quickly. He's got to move pretty sharpish, though, because Isaac is pushing out this side of the map. And I'll tell you what, if he hits this quick enough, he might be able to take Broke down here. Is Broke going to turn around at the right time? He's not going to do it, so he's going to get shot in the back. Isaac, 1 versus 1, up against Swogi. Swogi's just got to play the clock here. He's just got to play it smart. Has he managed to do it here? You can see Isaac still lurking in middle map. When's he going to stick the bomb? It feels almost inevitable. He's on the bomb now. Is Swogi going to check it? He's got to be quick, though. Oh, he's got to be quick. Oh, the shot's crisp enough. Yes, they are. Swogi clutches up and Corrupt Light able to take that round, Pablo. Tie it up. And, I mean, we've only seen 2 rounds, but are we going to see that infamous Tuscan round 11 that we've seen so many times?
We are, if we're going to see Corrupt Light play like that, really nice 1v2. Again, we talk about how tough it is to get clutches in this, and they prove it. Swogi with some nice plays, able to play a bit of time, able to play, you know, with the information and get into a good position. And he leaves, you know, Isaac with no real opportunity to get that diffused. So good play from Corrupt Light, and it's 1-1 right now. And again, we've seen a nice array of game styles. We've seen some aggressive play from both sides, and now we've seen some relatively good cautious play. So both teams seem to feel kind of evenly matched as we go into this, despite the 1-1. It's 2 also. Great performance so far. Swogi, though, again, just looking to be the hero for Corrupt Light. And you've got to look to Fudzy again, the talking point of the Clutch Rain side, just going off.
Yeah, you could hear the crack of the sniper rifle there from Resto as it whips past Toki's head, I believe it was on that occasion. And Isaac, big moment here for him. Spots Afraidable, takes down one. Really good moment. This power position up top is really difficult to shift players out of, but Swogi's going to push through and make the trade. So now they get control of this top fire space, and now can they get more picks here? Swogi, can he grab another one? No, Toki stops him where he stands, and now Broke needs to clutch up, makes it a 1 versus 1, but 15 seconds left on the clock again. Now Fudzi is in the position almost that his teammate was on previously, just needs to play the time. He's waiting for the chow. I don't think Broke is going to give him the kill in the grander scheme of things, and it will be a round going on the cards to Clutch Rain, so they are going to retake the lead 2-1. Corrupt Light going to drop that one, and a quick shout as well to Lou Cud and your weapon as well for the follows. Thank you very much, guys, but a good round there on the board for Clutch Rain. Pablo, it seems as though that battle over towards top fire is one that we're probably going to see right until the end of this series.
Yeah, no, obviously it's a popular battle that goes down when you see that bomb get planted and they've got some good visuals on it. And it's really possibly going to come down to the team that's able to mix it up most intelligently and able to get control of whatever bomb site they choose. Again, I would suggest, we're probably not going to see too many pushes over towards that B bomb site with the difficulty that it presents. But you're probably right. We're going to see a lot of fight go down towards middle map. Have yet to see a really solid performance in the sniper department, and that's a great shot from Resto as he drops Toki, and that's a huge first kill. But Fade again, you said it earlier that the grenades go out and the huge fight goes down to middle. Is he going to get it? Swogi gets dropped eventually by Isaac, but a huge play, and it's a 1v1 again, Major, for the third round, fourth round in a row.
Yeah. Oh, he's sticking the bomb. Resto's just waiting around the corner. Is he going to trail it at the right time? Yes, he is. So Corrupt Light, they are going to take another round. And I think the way this one is going, it is every single attacking team has won the round, and Resto managing to clutch up for his boys on that odd occasion again to tie it back up to 2 apiece. And this is kind of the difficulty with Tuscan Pabs. Obviously, the attacking side does seem to be the more favourable one. But what do those defensive teams have to do? It's so difficult sometimes to get that bomb defused. It's almost as though you've got to kind of double bluff the team, and almost if that person makes it a 1 versus 1, just stick the bomb immediately, because if you give them time to reposition and hesitate just a little bit, it's so difficult to work something.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we've seen this time and time again, the defensive team just doing really well, and it's just proven to be an absolute nightmare for any team in that position. This is a really solid site, especially if you can get a pick early on. It's a reasonable site to cover from a number of angles, unlike B, where you've got these elevated areas and a number of different points. And it's the same old. You've got to get that pick, you've got to get some control, and you need to do that with a man advantage. And right now, Clutch Rain have got that. They've dropped Afraidable, probably the weaker player on the team right now, so they just need to use that advantage and potentially get that bomb down. They've got no one with eyes on bomb, so this is a good opportunity for them to do it. The support is there, as we do see Fudzy and Twiz both get kills, so a great opportunity to stick that, and that's exactly what they needed to do for this attacking side to win. Defensive team, man, again, it's just a reversal. They need to be able to get the picks on the players, and that comes down to that first encounter, first blood, and then potentially, you're forcing a different kind of thought process from the attacking side. It's just so difficult, though, if you are on the defense.
Yeah, at this moment, it almost feels like Tuscan Search and Destroy is almost like, it feels like a break of serve if someone wins a defensive round. At the moment, every single round has been a win for the attacking side, and we're not going to see a change after that round number 5. So can Clutch Rain beat the team to maybe make the play here? And they are going to switch this up, actually, Corrupt Light, which is quite surprising. It's worked for them every single time they've gone A, but you can see the platoon of players heading over towards B. Isaac is going to be in charge of watching this push through, and Toki gets the first blood onto the lone man in Resto as well. But now he turns around at the worst of times, and number 7, Afraidable, is going to try and get that bomb down surely any second now. Isaac, though, has he got a sixth sense to check this left position? He's seen the doors open. So now where is this next kill going to lie? Afraidable still laying prone. He is not wanting to move anything towards the bomb. Look at the COD timing on that one. Isaac dips literally at the split second that somebody spots him.
And looks like they're gonna absolutely change things up and push through mid. I think they want this pick. They want to actually even things up. I think it's like super valuable for them to have like the game at least 3-all before they can feel confident to get bomb down. But unfortunately, they are leaving themselves absolutely zero time to get. And with number 3 there, you can genuinely hear any kind of bomb activity from miles away. And Toki just going to be the absolute nightmare. Bomb is going to get stuck. But now it's a 2v4, and this is a difficult position for Corrupt Light.
Yeah. Where are Broke and Swogie going to try and defend this from, because they're on the less preferred side as well. So this next kill is surely going to be huge. And Toki's just going for it. Toki's just sticking the bomb. I don't even know if they're going to be able to try and chow this. They're not going to have any nades. Swogie's going to try and leg it towards the bomb, but they are going to get the defuse. And Clutch Rain, they are going to grab a defuse, and an all-important one, Pabs. They break the serve of Corrupt Light. They make it 4-2. And could that potentially be the swing moment in this series in Game 5?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they get that two-man advantage, but they make it pay. And again, I mean, you got to argue that Corrupt Light, you know, they had that opportunity to get bombed down. You know, when Isaac moves back through fire, and they know that he's to top charge, and they know he's gone back, they had that information. By not taking that opportunity, they potentially, you know, shot themselves in the foot. And that's just allowed Train to get that defuse. And we argue against Swogie goes big. I argue all the time, get the defuse, man, as quickly as possible. You know, you're potentially going to lose the round anyway. Just get the defuse in.
Yeah, Swogie, what a moment from him. Takes down 2 players. Braidable, oh, he's going to check with the stun, and Isaac just opts to go out onto him and grabs the kill. So they make it a 2 versus 2. Now, a round that was looking oh so positive from Swogie's first 2 kills has now evened again in numbers. You can see Broke just underneath here. Window is Isaac. Going to try and make the play. He's going to fall straight into the clutches of Broke. Broke takes him down. Now Toki, 1 versus 2. Really awkward spot for him now to try and retrieve that bomb. Up against Broke and Swogie. Can they get some good timing again? He's checking all of his corners here, Toki, but by doing so, he's not giving himself much time to work with here. Going to have to be a lot quicker than this. 20 seconds left on the clock. He's going to check in towards top, and he gets Broke. Oh, no. I thought that was potentially going to be the moment there, but Broke stays alive, and this round is looking pretty doom and gloom now for him, because he's not got enough time, and those players have just legged it to opposite corners of the map.
Yeah, I think he was looking to get the kills. I think he'd given up on potentially getting the bomb down and was just looking, but now he's just going to play his life. He is on a 3 streak, so potentially, you know, in the back of his mind, starting to think about getting that glide and potentially using it to gain information or even tag a player up. 4-3, though they've got to be concerned because, you know, Corrupt Light have just played this really, really well. They're well capable of also taking a round as well, and this is, you know, back over. So what was that break of service come back, and they've got a good opportunity to tie this up, and we end up in that potential repeated kind of ecosystem of the attacking team doing so well. So good opportunity to tie this up to 4-all, and right now huge plays. You would suggest, Major, that if Afraidable was able to get into this round in any way, this could be a completely different game for Corrupt Light.
Yeah. Toki lurking on 3 kills at the moment as we start to see some smokes and tacticals alike come through. So Resto, there's a free pick, takes down Twiz, evens up the life count to 3 apiece now. And it's just got to be noted that the one time that each team has tried to go over towards B, it's been an attacking round that hasn't come through for them. So Corrupt Light going to resort to what they know works and try and get this bomb down. So bomb is now going down. Now whether or not the players have nades, it doesn't look as though they do, and Broken. Covered by Broke. Woodsy is able to take Swogie down though. So the bomb plant goes down, but now it's a 2 versus 3. Broke and Resto. Can they manage to make the plays here? Broke just playing it oh so patiently. He's anticipating that Foodsy is going to try and get in towards this top section of the map, and the timing on that. They still need to try and work the diffuser. Meanwhile, over towards the other side, there's more gunfights going down, and Resto takes down 1. There's going to be another player channeling out, and Resto gets 2. He gets 2 huge kills, and now Foodsy is the last man up. 1 versus 2. I don't think he's going to have time with this. He's hunting Resto. Resto has played this perfectly, and that is another huge round for Corrupt Light, Pablo. And with that round, they are going to tie it up. This is going down to the wire once again.
Just when you felt Clutch Rain were going to get the foot in the door, start to put a bit of distance between them, what happens? Corrupt Light absolutely blow up and get that attacking round, and great play from Resto. And between the two of them, they're able to bring this back and make this has been back and forth from a game that we shouted maybe a 3-0 or 3-1. We are a 2-all and we are a 4-all, and man, we are potentially going to that round 11 on a Tuscan S&D, which is something you don't see that often. I am obviously lying, but huge plays, and man, Afraidable 1-8. You'd think that if he's able to get into this game, Corrupt Light could potentially see this out. You've got to hope that he's going to be able to do it. Right now, it's been great performances, in particular from Resto and Foodsy, who have both had great games so far, but someone needs to get a grip of this game if they want to take this series.
Yeah, number 1 Isaac might be busy in a second. There's a couple of players lurking down by well. Where is this first blood going to lie? Wiz just waiting for the right time, but number 7 Frable has managed to get himself in that corner, but he's just trying to keep his head down. But Twiz, after just ducking and weaving, manages to take him down with the MP40 shot. So he takes down one. His teammate in Toki's having a battle on towards Broke as well. But the teamwork comes through, and all of a sudden, Swogi is now last man up. Can he go huge? Takes down one. There's still another man in you. And I'll tell you what, if he times this right, he might grab another kill here. Chows the corner, but Twiz makes no mistake about it. Clutch Rain, they steady the ship again, Pablo. They push the lead out 5-4, and they are now 1 round away.
Yeah, and given the way that things have gone back and forth, you would almost expect this to go to 5-all, which is advantage Clutch Rain. So this is a big opportunity right now. Either they're going to, as you say, break the serve and take the match, or this is going to get tied up, and this is going to be a super difficult fight. If it does go to that round 11, Corrupt Light have got to do something they haven't done, which is to obviously break and win that defensive round. So you would expect, you really do. I mean, Afraidable's been given the bomb duty. I've finally been told, if you're not going to get kills, do a job in the round. And it's been a huge performance from both teams, but right now Clutch Rain just with the slight advantage and a good performance, and it's just the way the cookies crumbled for Corrupt Light. And this is a huge game, and right now you can see the caution major. No one really wanting to be the first blood in this game.
Yeah, and Woodsy lurking in middle map, and that is a cheeky spot and a half, just looking through the underside of the troop carrier. Bomb is going down. Can you hear it, though? That's the question. I don't think he can. So Afraidable's going to get the bomb down, but he will fall. Foodsy gets the first blood. But now, can they work some magic here? Nice shots from Broke, though. Manages to reply with a kill. And number 6, Resto. He might be able to make the play, but no. Twiz shuts him down. So now it is 2 versus 3. Bomb is down. Broken Swogi. They have to go huge here. We saw Swogi had his moments, but they need to just defend the bomb. But the shots are coming through, and they managed to get the defuse. And Clutch Rain, they managed to clutch it up in the last final round of that series. 6-4 in the map number 5, 3-2 in the series, and they managed to just about get it over the line, Pabs.
Man, the Pablo school of Call of Duty strategies, if you can defuse the bomb as soon as possible, they jump on, get the defuse, they can't be seen, and it looks like Broke struggling in top 5. He can't see the play, and he just starts to randomly shoot, but it's too little, too late, and a great bit of play. They get that first blood, they're able to get control, and they take it in the end, but boy, did they make that difficult for themselves. A game we thought they were going to truly dominate. Well, we've been absolutely made to eat our words as Corrupt Light, making an absolute monstrosity of this game. And you look at that Gavutu control where they played so well. Potentially the scoreline a little tighter than it should have been given how well they played, and that 250 to 233 in that Berlin. But Clutch Rain, the quality eventually does show, and you've really got to say hats off to Foodsy, who had an absolutely monumental performance as the newest member of the squad, and it's just slotted in absolutely so easily.
Yeah, and obviously by those lads' standards, it's not the prettiest of ways that they went about that series. It went right down to the wire, but GG's there to Clutch Rain. They get it over the line, and also a big GG's there to Corrupt Light for making what was an incredible series there between those two teams. That is one of the better ones that we've seen, and even your house is having a party, Pabs. You got the photosensitive epileptic lights going left, right, and centre.
It was a massive game. My wife's decided to get involved with the lights, a little bit of a disco, a little bit of a party. She's decided, she wants to get in on the act, but 3-2 in the end, huge performance. And we expected them to win. They made it more difficult than they probably should have done, but at the end it just came down to just top quality play. And those last 2 rounds they did dominate quite heavily, and again just a little bit of consistency and a little bit of following through to the end for Corrupt Light, but so many positives for them to take away. And they've got an immense amount. One thing you do get, so if they get an awful lot of VOD from this, they're going to have an awful lot of opportunities to go back and look at a lot of games. Some teams who are getting 3-0'd, they're not getting those last 2 maps to go over, so good opportunity for Corrupt Light maybe to go back and have a look at where things went right or went wrong. But a great game regardless, and what an evening of Call of Duty again in the ACCL Super League.
Yeah, every single series that we have either has absolutely banging players in it or banging plays, or a combination of the two, and it's another stellar one there on display. An absolute pleasure to cast over these kind of quality of players, as again, and as mentioned, GG's there to both teams. It will be Clutch Rain that come out on top right at the nick of things, right at the end, but unfortunately Corrupt Light, they are going to have to take the L on that occasion, but I have no worries. Those boys will go away and come back stronger next time after coming up against a team on paper that you would argue is quite a bit stronger. They do almost get it done, but unfortunately not going to be able to do so. But that is going to be it from myself and Pabs this evening. A huge thank you to everyone who has dropped by and tuned in. As per usual, you guys, your support is second to none. We are going to quickly drop a raid onto one of the other RAF lads in Harry's currently doing a bit of Warzone. If you guys can hop on the raid and show him a bit of love, that would be greatly appreciated. Drop him a follow as well. His jaw will probably hit the floor with all you boys dropping in and showing him some love. But a huge thank you to everyone who has come through, all the new followers, new and old especially. Thank you very much, guys. But we should be back tomorrow for some more action. We'll try and organise those games, and as soon as they are, obviously myself and ACCL will tweet them out. And yeah, we will catch you for some more action, because blimey, after that one, I'm going to need a drink and some food after that one. That was an absolute banger of a series. But that will be it from myself and Pablo this evening. A huge thank you, obviously, as well to Mr. Pablo for joining me. And we will see you guys tomorrow for some more Call of Duty action. Thanks again, guys. We will see you then.
Take care.
There were times when I couldn't see. There were times when I thought this was all I had. But I guess I ain't the same.